If you've ever used insulating tape to seal up the crib, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another frosty edition of Benzinga's pre-market playbook, coming live here from Chicago, where it's -8 with a real feel of -29. I've decided to go a hoodie today. I hope I don't offend anybody here because it is bitterly cold out there. But the market's been hot, and we're going to trade the last day of the week here. We got a full lineup despite the cold. Mark Putrino will be joining us. Of course, 13 will be on to break down the movers. We'll have Anne-Marie doing an option segment here today. So we got you all prepared. Get your cocoa, get your coffee, get ready. We're going to have some fun. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the Friday edition for January 23rd, 2026 begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Thursday. If you chose to watch hockey last night, you were probably rewarded because the games were outstanding. We're back here today to wrap up yet another busy week to start the year here in 2026. It's been fun. We've actually had a lot of good opportunities here, despite some of these smaller movers really kind of crapping out early. So today, I'm sure we're going to break down all of that stuff. We're going to do some chart analysis, and we're going to get you ready to go before our Friday session kicks off the weekend here. Good to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Brent is first here today. Brent, good morning. Early bird gets the worm. Really good stuff here today. Looks like you're already on DRCT and GIBO and Rhea, which we've been talking about the past couple of days. Good to have you back here, Brent. Good morning. Peter, good morning. Cold here. Nothing like Chicago, though. You got that right. I'm going to need a full balaclava to do my walk outside there today. Frostbite sets in 10 minutes or less. at these temperatures, from what I've read. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Big Dave, good morning. Welcome back. JD, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning as always, boss. Welcome back. Good afternoon, I think, for you, nonetheless. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. The producers locked in, making sure that the show runs smoothly, and we appreciate him. JD, good morning. Brian, good morning. Brian says, good morning, and sorry to all of the Intel longs. What a mess. Let me tell you, though, Intel has been a great long for a while. Earnings here really kind of sinking it on some soft guidance. We're going to cover that here in a bit, Brian. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. H&H Tactical, good morning. Welcome back. Did anyone else see the unusual option activity in Alt? I did not, but Altimmune has been a stock that we've actually looked at several times here. I actually think Kathy from our group has traded this a number of times as well. I can go back and take a look at that, but I didn't notice it myself. What I would say is, what did you notice? What was the strike and expiry where you saw a lot of that unusual option activity? Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Sam, good morning. Sam says, good morning. Why do I choose to live where the air hurts my face? Sam, I've got an answer for you. It's because it builds character and toughens you up. You probably didn't want to hear that, but that's the case. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Welcome back. Richard Judge, great to see you as always, man. Tyler, good morning. Whisk, good morning. Jin, good morning. One Stop, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Best Life, good morning and welcome back. Jay Harris, good morning. James, good morning. Knights Lance, good morning. Edward, good morning. Brian says, oh man, -8, I won't complain. 3D says, frigid face. That's going to be me in a little bit, 3D. That's going to be me. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Bob, good morning. Welcome back. Marty, good morning. Using painter's plastic and tape on the door. So I actually went on Amazon and found something that's literally called insulating tape, designed to seal up cracks. I think that it works a little bit. Frankly, anything that causes the furnace to run less is probably going to help. We will see. We will see how it goes. Lion, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Bensky, good morning. Castle, good morning. G-Cord, good morning. Tin, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Up 30X, good morning. Who am I missing? Robot to Trade, good morning. All right. Okay, yes, okay, character. I got freezer and windburn. I don't feel character. Hey, we're always trying to look at the positive here. From what I hear, Vaseline can actually help protect the skin. My secret is just covering the skin with athletic material. A balaclava will be a good way to get that. That's funny, though. User, good morning, and Big of Bees, good morning. Folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures under a bit of frozen pressure here today. S&P futures down 0.07%, the Dow futures down 0.28%, and the NASDAQ down 0.1%. So we are near unchanged, but still slightly under pressure here today. Let's go ahead and take a look at some cues from last session. Energy, materials, consumer discretionary, and healthcare led the way on Thursday as all sectors within the S&P 500 ended the day in the green. This comes amid President Trump withdrawing his tariffs against the European Union following a framework agreement regarding expanded U.S. access to Greenland. Besides this, U.S. final GDP figures for the third quarter stood at 4.4%, ahead of the estimate at 4.3%, according to data released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The Personal Consumption Expenditures, or PCE price index, expanded 2.8% year over year, in line with estimates, and core PCE at 2.8%. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.23%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.6%. And as we've said pretty much all week, the CME's Fed Watch tool holding steady at 95% for no cut for January. We have several stocks in focus here for you today. The first one is going to be Capital One Financial, and the ticker on this one is COF. Shares are sliding in pre-market trade, down 3.31% following the company's fourth quarter earnings results on Thursday after the bell, when its earnings fell short of analyst consensus estimates. The next stock on our list is going to be Revelation Biosciences, ticker is RevB, REVB. It's up 38.11% in the pre-market after the company announced that it had reached an agreement with the Food and Drug Administration on an approval pathway for its drug Gemini to treat acute kidney injury, or AKI. Intel is the next stock on our list. It looks like several of you folks are already looking at this one. Intel shares down 12% pre-market following the company's fourth quarter results on Thursday, owing to a soft first quarter outlook, which fell short of analyst estimates. The next stock on our list is going to be CSX Corp. The ticker is CSX. It surged 2.99% in the pre-market following its fourth quarter results, despite missing consensus estimates on the top and bottom lines. The last stock on our list is Booz Allen Hamilton. This is ticker BAH. It was up 0.25% in the pre-market ahead of the company's earnings, ahead of the company's fiscal third quarter results before the market opens on Friday. That stock is now bid at 102.22 here in the pre-market. Those earnings are out now. Booz Allen Hamilton adjusted Q3 EPS of 177, beat the 129 estimate. Sales of 2.62 missed the 2.749 billion estimate, so kind of a mixed report there. They raised full year 2026 adjusted EPS guidance from 5.45 to 5.65 to 5.95 to 6.15, so a pretty good raise there. That was versus a 562 estimate. And they narrowed the full year 26 sales guidance from 11.3 billion to 11.5 billion to 11.3 to 11.4 billion. The estimate was for 11.4 billion, pretty much right in line. All right, let's take a look at a SPY chart here today and get you ready for the day ahead. All right, let me zoom in here a little bit. We'll take a look at the key levels. We did yesterday actually close just above the 20-day moving average. And when I say just above, I mean like 7 or 8 cents above the 20-day moving average. So to me, that's almost like we closed on it. I understand 7 cents on an ETF here that's $688 is fairly negligible to me. But we're still kind of riding this area. And additionally, we are actually above the 21-day EMA, which is another EMA that folks are looking for here to determine trend. We are still above the 50. That would be a key level if we do indeed find some more weakness here today and sell off. I would also, I'm not necessarily as concerned about the intraday action. I'm more concerned about where we close. Do we close above the 50? Are we able to firm up at all and then maybe get a confident close above the 20-day moving average? We'll see. The other thing that we have to do here is I'm going to extend this trend line yet again a little bit, because if we trade back up, I actually wouldn't be shocked if we find a little bit of resistance at that trend line. For today, that value would be about 694. We noticed yesterday, if we look inside, that the SPY actually had trouble getting above 690. Here you go. I know it peaked above it, but you'll notice that all of these candles, even the wicks, it would come back in. 690 definitely going to be a key level here today. I would say 694 after that if we're able to firm up at all. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. According to Bank of America's latest fund manager survey, institutional investors are the most bullish since 2021. Let me know if you folks had that on your bingo card. I didn't. With surging optimism, low cash levels, and hedging. The survey, which included 196 participants managing a combined $575 billion in assets, showed that 38% of respondents expect stronger global growth with minimum fears of a recession, while equity allocations climbed to their highest levels since December of 2024, with 48% of fund managers now overweight stocks. This pushed Bank of America's widely watched bull and bear indicator up to 9.4, which is firmly in the hyper bull territory, indicative of high optimism. I guess if you're a contrarian here, hyper bull territory probably represents an area for a potential pullback. One of the things we've been looking at here as a group is what the VIX is telling us. The VIX, of course, printed just about 21, backed off here. We're sitting at 1579 here. Last time the VIX really started to trade up, it was in a 13 handle, so perhaps there's a little bit more room before that bounces again. The bank's chief investment strategist, Michael Hartnett, also called out low levels of hedging, which he finds particularly striking. Quote, low levels of stock market hedging are irrelevant in a world of positive surprises, end quote, while noting that, quote, it matters greatly if surprises suddenly turn, end quote. As far as the economic data that you should be aware of here today at 9:45, S&P Global will release its flash U.S. services PMI for January alongside the flash U.S. manufacturing PMI for the month. This will be followed at 10 a.m. by the final reading of the consumer sentiment for January, which is expected to come at 54, unchanged from the prior month. All right, folks, let's take a look at Intel. Actually, what we're going to do is start with the chart here. Then we're going to dive into what the earnings had to say and where we're at. Here's a look at Intel's daily chart. And again, we started by talking about let me actually turn the EMA off here. We started by talking about the really nice move that this stock has had. Shout out to everybody that was talking about adding this down in the 19 handle back last year. Now we've really made some constructive moves on the chart. So we were actually looking at this in happy hour yesterday, and the consensus here is, well, the stock's moved quite a bit. So a pullback, probably healthy at the end of the day. You'll see here what we've done is we've actually stayed above this 44. I have the 20-day moving average down here at 43.5. Intel's currently trading at 47 here in the pre-market. I really think if it can hold this level, maybe call it 43.5 to 44, that actually might set up for another move higher. In the process of moving down and holding this level, we'd love to see our RSI come in a little bit. That would give us some more potential juice to the upside. So this has been on a great run. I know a lot of you folks have been trading this. Congrats. Hopefully you've booked some along the way. But with this earnings down 13.44% here today. Now let's take a look at the actual report itself. Intel reported fourth quarter financial results after the market closed yesterday. They reported revenue of $13.67 billion, which beat analyst estimates of $13.37 billion. That would be LEET for all of our computer gaming nerds out there that do LEET speak. The company reported fourth quarter adjusted earnings of 15 cents per share, beating estimates of 8 cents per share. That's according to Benzinga Pro. Total revenue in the fourth quarter was down 4% on a year-over-year basis. And here's a breakdown of the revenue by category. Client computing down 7% year-over-year at $8.2 billion. Data center and AI, probably the one that folks were looking at the most. That was up 9% year-over-year, coming in at $4.7 billion. Intel's foundry business, $4.5 billion. That was up 4% year-over-year. Total Intel products reached $12.9 billion. That was down 1% year over year. And all other was about $600 million. That's down 48% year over year. Now, Intel generated $4.3 billion in cash from operations during the quarter and ended the period with approximately $14.27 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Quote, our conviction in the essential role of CPUs in the AI era continues to grow. We delivered a solid finish to the year and made progress on our journey to build a new Intel. That quote coming from CEO Lip Bhutan. The introduction of our first products on Intel 18A, the most advanced technology we've developed and manufactured in the United States, marks an important milestone. And while we're working aggressively to grow supply to meet consumer demands. Intel expects first quarter revenue to be in the range of $11.7 to $12.7 billion. That was versus the estimate of $12.49 billion. So at the lower end of that range. The company anticipates break-even first quarter adjusted earnings versus estimates of 5 cents per share. Quote, our priorities are clear: sharpen execution, reinvigorate engineering excellence, and fully capitalize on the vast opportunity AI presents across all of our businesses, end quote. And again, that came from CEO Lip Bhutan. So I wanted to dive in here a little bit more, just a little bit extra information. Really, the key takeaway for me here on Intel, this is, again, something that's been discussed quite a bit. Intel, very much like a large oil tanker or shipping tanker. These things take a while to turn. It's not something that can really turn around on a dime. It's very, very clear Intel's going through a turnaround story, and so far, so good, but this path is not going to be met without some type of pullback. Like I said, I think at the end of the day, this is going to end up being fairly healthy for the stock overall. Now, next here, Intel won't rush costly chip capacity build out despite the AI boom, even as Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung spend big bucks. On Thursday, Intel said it will not accelerate major chip capacity investments without clear customer commitments, even as Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung ramp up their spending. During the company's fourth quarter earnings call, Intel struck a cautious tone on capacity expansion, pushing back against concerns that it could fall behind the intensifying AI-driven semiconductor arms race. Asked whether delaying equipment orders would leave Intel exposed to longer lead times as demand accelerates, Intel CFO David Zizner said the company is already investing aggressively, but selectively. I wonder if we're going to see more companies say this as they report earnings, more of these AI companies. Quote, we're aggressively getting tools on Intel 7, Intel 3, and 18A, end quote, adding that Intel plans to ramp wafer starts as aggressively as possible on those manufacturing nodes. The restraint, Zizner explained, applies primarily to Intel 14A, a process node tied closely to Intel's foundry service and external customers. Quote, what we're holding back on is 14A because 14A is really linked to foundry customers. It doesn't make sense to build out significant capacity until we know that we have customers that will accept that demand. Again, I wonder if we're going to see this a little bit more as we get more of these reports. The comments contrast with more aggressive capacity expansion strategies pursued by Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung, which have been rapidly securing equipment slots to meet anticipated AI chip demand. Intel also said it believes meaningful supply gains can be achieved without major new capital expenditures, a view that sets it apart from its peers. Zizner said Intel's near-term focus is on improving manufacturing efficiency across its existing footprint, including better yields and shorter production cycle times. Quote, we think we gain a lot of supply just by doing things better with our existing tools, end quote, calling these opportunities more unique for us right now than other foundries. Now, we already covered Intel's earnings reports. I did want to mention here, despite the report here, Intel's still scoring in the 97th percentile in our Benzinga momentum ranking, and actually also scores pretty well on value. So part of me wonders if this reduced capital expenditure is the next phase for some of these chip or AI companies. I wonder how it's going to react, or I wonder what we're going to see in a lot of these earnings reports, and then, of course, how the stock reacts. So let me know what your thoughts are on Intel. Is there more? Is there more stuff or is there more to run here on this pullback? Are you looking to add? Is that a long-term, a short-term trade? Let me know what you think. We'll probably ask Mark Putrino about that. I got to think 44 would be the next load level there. Speaking of chips, by the way, NVIDIA's chips fetch record premiums on China's black market. How about that? Who was telling you that? NVIDIA is pressing ahead with its China strategy as demand for advanced AI chips remains strong, even while regulatory bottlenecks and supply constraints complicate deliveries. The chip designer and founder CEO Jensen Huang expressed optimism about strong H200 demand in China during the World Economic Forum on January 21st, 2026. The confidence persists even as Chinese customs officials hold those high-performance chips at the border, while Washington recently granted NVIDIA formal permission to ship the H200s to the world's second-largest economy. Some orders remain trapped in a state of extreme sensitivity. SCMP reported that on Thursday. Chinese AI firms were forced to chase expensive black market hardware and lower-performing domestic alternatives. Again, lower performing domestic alternatives, such as Huawei's Ascend series. Resellers in China reported that black market servers containing 8 H200 GPUs are currently commanding a 50% premium at roughly 2.3 million yuan or $330,000. Despite these hurdles, Jensen Huang plans to visit China this month to help reopen that market. Taiwan Industries Economic Services Research Fellow Arisa Liu said NVIDIA's China dilemma reflects a choice between near-term performance and long-term strategy, but warned that China's tech sector could face more profound and more widespread short-term damage. At the same time, global demand for AI hardware continues to tighten supply. A December report indicated that global demand for AI hardware continues to strain supply. Hell, we're seeing that in the memory market. And NVIDIA is feeling the pressure as strong interest from China collides with limited chip capacity and policy uncertainty. Chinese tech firms are placing heavy orders for NVIDIA's H200 AI chips, prompting the company to urge Taiwan Semiconductor to raise output. Gosh, thankfully, they're building fabs here in the United States. Am I right? Reports indicate Chinese customers have lined up orders for more than 2 million H200 chips for 2026, far exceeding NVIDIA's current availability of roughly 700 units. So the takeaway here is that if we're able to start selling these chips and China says, yeah, you know what, our companies can buy these chips, the demand is insane, to borrow Jensen's words that he's used on previous calls. And might this make for a good move in NVIDIA? You folks will have to tell me. To close the gap, NVIDIA has asked Taiwan Semiconductor to begin building additional capacity, with production work expected to start in the second quarter of 2026. NVIDIA has priced China-bound H200 variants at about 27 grand per chip, with terms varying by volume. An 8-chip module can run close to 1.5 million yuan higher than prior H20 systems. ByteDance is among the largest spenders, with plans to allocate about 100 billion yuan to NVIDIA chips in 2026. NVIDIA became the first company to reach a market cap of 4.5 trillion earlier this October. Will it make 5 trillion? Jeremy here says, lol, NVIDIA will go bonkers. Jeremy, I seem to be in the same camp that you are, so these are some catalysts that we should definitely watch. I will continue to report this as we get more information on this. Next stock here is going to be Meta. I know this is one that we trade quite a bit here. Analysts identified Meta Platforms as a potential buying opportunity due to its significant discount relative to Alphabet or Google. The analysis suggests that Meta's new AI model could soon close the valuation gap. Despite being a part of the Magnificent Seven tech stocks, Meta has seen a significant drop in share value since its last earnings call, primarily due to concerns about excessive spending on AI infrastructure, and that was according to a report from MarketWatch. This has led to a substantial gap in forward price-to-earnings ratio between Meta and Alphabet, with Meta trading at 20.1 times forward earnings compared to Alphabet's 28.3 times. Jefferies analyst Brent Thill believes that this negative sentiment has been overblown and the peak pressure has already been priced in. He stated that Meta's new text and image artificial intelligence models, expected to be released in the first half of 2026, could be a turning point for the company. These models are anticipated to demonstrate the value of Meta's high-profile AI hires and could potentially shift the narrative around the company's AI capabilities. Phil also pointed out that Meta's recent budget cuts in its metaverse division indicate a focus on cost control, which we were kind of just hearing from Intel in a different way. Additionally, the company's use of AI to optimize ad performance has led to increased engagement across its platforms. The analyst highlighting strong upside for WhatsApp, noting that it is the largest daily active user base among Meta's apps, yet remains under-monetized. He projects the platform's revenue could increase fourfold by fiscal 2029. Now, despite the recent pullback, Phil reiterated a buy rating and a 910 price target on Meta. Meta's in the mid 600s right now, implying nearly 40% upside from its current price. Eric Lynch, the managing director and co-portfolio manager at Suncoast Equity, echoes the same and believes that Meta's decline is self-inflicted and that the company's strategic focus on implementing AI across its properties and lowering CapEx will drive growth. Meanwhile, a new report shows that Meta's Thread app is seeing strong daily user growth, while X from Elon Musk's XAI is falling behind. This indicates that despite the recent stock's decline, Meta's user base and engagement are still growing, which could be a positive sign for the company's future performance. Another quick look here at the proprietary Benzinga Edge rankings here. Meta scoring extremely high on quality in the 94th percentile, 42nd percentile in value, and its momentum has really come in. So I think the thought here is that if this turns around, you could have a high-quality momentum stock on your hands, and we've all seen what Meta can do when it gets rolling. How much time do I have? A couple of minutes. We are cooking, folks. All right. Tesla starts driverless robotaxi in Austin as Elon Musk calls autonomy essentially a solved problem at Davos. Tesla has finally rolled out driverless robotaxis in Austin, and CEO Elon Musk reaffirming that the EV giant has solved autonomous driving during an appearance at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Tesla, in an announcement on social media platform X, not on Threads, by the way, lol, on Thursday shared that the company has begun its driverless robotaxi operations, quote, full unsupervised robotaxi ride in Austin, end quote. Company said in a post, anyone that wants to see this or go through any of the others, here you go. That is in the chat there for you. However, there could be a slight caveat to the calm. In the video that Tesla quoted with the announcement, Tesla cars and humans inside can be seen following the robotaxis. At this moment, it's unclear about the purpose of those trailing cars. We did reach out, by the way. Tesla did not respond as of yet. I will update you if that changes. It's worth noting that Tesla's stock has rallied over 4% since Musk's EV giant shared the announcement. Musk has also shared earlier that towards the end of the year, he was driven around Austin autonomously by a Tesla Model Y robotaxi. The company's service, however, failed to reach the driverless operations goals by the end of 2025, which were set by Musk. The billionaire had predicted on multiple occasions in the past that Tesla's robotaxi would be driverless last year. And indeed, that's the hits that Musk keeps taking. He makes these predictions. They're often not accurate. We'll get all up in a storm about that. We'll see how this ends up shaking out. Speaking at the World Economic Forum, shared that self-driving was essentially a solved problem at this point, adding that the company was pushing to secure supervised self-driving approval in Europe next month. Musk also shared that he wished for a similar timeline in China. Tesla and the Dutch safety regulator RDW have both confirmed February 2026 launch time for supervised self-driving technology to receive approval in the European market, but this, as always, is subject to change. All right, folks, good stuff there with the news. Now it's time for our Friday guest here. Let's go ahead and bring on Mark Putrino. Let's see what he's got for us and what else we can take a look at. Let's bring on Mark. Mark, good morning. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing well. How are you?
What kind of temperatures are you dealing with out there on the East Coast?
It's 26 degrees right now.
So you got it easy, man. You got it easy here. -8 here. -8. So
Supposedly, well, they're calling for like the storm of the century to come through here on Sunday.
I know. Well, it might be the place to be on Sunday might be at home. In the meantime, though, perhaps you can warm us up with some charts here. What do you got for us today?
Well, my big concern is that the cable goes out and I can't watch the Patriots destroy the Broncos.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. Tell you what,
you knew it was coming.
Yeah, you're damn right I did. I'm going to be parked on my couch watching that too. I hope that your power doesn't go out, although I suspect that you have a Generac generator somewhere in there.
I actually have a Briggs & Stratton generator.
There we go. Okay, you want to share your screen and dive into what you got here?
All righty, let's see here. Share screen. All right. Is that sharing?
It sure is. Let me put it up here. Sorry, I was just putting the compliment to you about you being a favorite guest here. All right.
All right. Oh, well, every day I do a article for Benzinga. It's called the Stock of the Day, where I do little kind of technical analysis lesson. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do today, but one of the things I was looking at, which looked kind of interesting, is this guy over here. And
this is perfect timing, Mark. We had someone bring this up yesterday. This thing was ripping. I can't wait to hear what the chart says on this.
Well, it says it's going one way or the other, which I know is kind of, people might say, well, that's a cop-out, but that's just how these important price levels are, right? When something gets to one of these important price levels, they don't really hang out there for too long. And what's interesting about this is whichever way it goes, on the upside, you have a gap, right? So if it goes up, it could go right through these levels. One of the main reasons why you get resistance in a market is because you have remorseful buyers trying to sell stuff on the way back up. If someone buys something at 10 and it goes to 8, they say, if it gets back to 10, I'll sell it. So you can see that on this chart. Here, there was support. And when the support broke, people who bought here experienced buyer remorse. And they say, if I can ever get out of this thing at break even, I will. So remorseful buyers place and sell orders. can make what was support become resistance. Now, the reason why that's important with this gap here is because think about it. We didn't trade, or there was very, very little trading in between these two price levels. The stock essentially closed there and opened there. So if there's no trading, well, then there's no one who bought who's going to be trying to sell on the way back up. So there may not be a lot of sell orders in this area here, which means new buyers are going to have to be really aggressive. And that could really push the thing up quickly. So if you've ever heard that expression, gaps tend to refill, that's what it refers to. Now, on the downside, one of the main reasons why you get support in a market is because of seller's remorse, remorseful sellers trying to buy stuff back. Like people sell here, the price goes higher, and a lot of them are like, darn, I shouldn't have sold. So if it gets back to my price, I'm going to buy my shares back. All right. Remorseful sellers can create support. Well, in a situation like this, it's the mirror image where it closed there and it opened there. So if there's no trading took place in there, there aren't going to be remorseful sellers who are trying to buy their shares back. So there may not be a lot of buy orders in this price level. So I think this thing is primed to go one way or the other. And
yeah, it's probably not going to stay here. We'll see which direction it goes. First of all, group, smash up the like for Mark and his lessons here. These are absolutely awesome. I do have one follow-up question for you on gaps filling, if you don't mind.
yes.
Can you pull up a Boeing chart really quick? All right, and then zoom out here so that we can go pretty much back to 2020, really kind of COVID.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you see that the big move down in 2020 from COVID, and it hits that line that you have there. Now that area there kind of looks like a gap to me, right? Light trading in there, and then you'll see that right after we bottom, we try and make it back up, but we don't quite make it all the way back up. My question here is, what type of psychological thing is happening that's stopping this stock from closing the gap? Do we simply just have to look more to the left to see what other historical price levels might be coming into play? What's going on here with a situation like this?
Well, this was actually a stock of the day back around here in July, because I just wanted to point out how precise some of these price levels can be. So here the low was 243. Here the high was 242.60. So we're talking about a 40-cent difference 8 months later on a $240 stock. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. But I don't know. See, what I would be looking at here is probably the next level, like around there, 265.
Okay, because, I'm looking at that and it's complicated by the fact that once it tries to close that gap down and it's not successful in doing that, it rolls right back over and then finds support at nearly the same level. So it's very, very clear that the same psychology existed down at that range between 100 and 125. I just can't figure out what happens between 250 and 300. And the reason I'm asking about that now is because where we're currently at, it looks like we're going to challenge some of these levels again. And I'm bullish on this. I'm trying to figure out where we might go. My gut tells me 300.
Yeah, I mean, the market is really, I've been doing this for a long time, and it's really just amazing how strong stuff is, in the commodity stuff, and the defense stocks, and I mean, it's just insane what's going on. Quantum computing, we're really at this kind of revolutionary time, and people keeps asking me like, oh, is the market going to crash? Everyone's saying the market's going to crash. Well, one of the things I learned in the market is if everyone's saying something is going to happen, it doesn't. All right. So, and there's a logical reason for that. It's not just a myth or whatever. There's an old Wall Street saying, the market climbs a wall of worry. Now, what that refers to is if people are still worried, if people are still bearish, there's going to be money on the sidelines. And as the market starts, continues to work its way higher, these people, they see that positive feedback loop and they finally say, you know what, this market's going to go on. This is a bull market. So I'm going to go invest all my funds. and everyone gets euphoric and really happy.
Yep.
And that's the top. So one of my students asked me the other day, like, is, with this whole Greenland thing or whatever, is that going to be bad for the market? And I mean, in the long run, obviously it'll probably be phenomenal for the markets because there's so many minerals and resources up there. But in the short run, I just kind of completely forgot what I was saying.
Well, maybe I'll be able to jog your memory here because you are hitting on several points that I wanted to ask you without me even preparing you here today. You were just talking about how when everyone's on one side of the trade, that's what the opposite ends up happening. Yeah. I just delivered a quote here today. I'd like you to react to this. Bank of America's widely watched bull and bear indicator went up to 9.4, which is firmly in the hyper bull territory, indicative of high optimism. Now, and there's also, at the same time, low levels of hedging. I ask you that because you've sometimes come on here and talked about the fear and greed index and how that can be inversely correlated to the direction the market moves. I'm wondering, what do you think about a hyper bull territory right now?
Well, so I guess that's based on probably cash levels and their clients, I guess. Well, there's this one too, this AAII sentiment indicator. And yeah, so actually, so now I remember what I was going to say. Like,
I knew I'd be able to jog your memory.
Thank you. All this whatever talk about, Greenland or tariffs or whatever, that keeps the bearish sentiment out there. So I think in the short run, it's probably good for the market because like I said, as long as people are bearish, the market could still keep working higher. Now, if I wake up, this comes out every Wednesday. If I wake up one Thursday morning and this is 60% bullish and 10% bearish or 65% bullish or what have you, that's when we're going to be at the top. But it's just really kind of crazy what's going on with silver. So Elon Musk was apparently saying, I've yet to watch it. I keep meaning to. A couple of weeks ago, he was just talking about how the world just does not have enough silver. Mm-hmm. And these new EVs, the batteries need silver. A lot of the quantum computing stuff needs silver. And some of the big mines are coming to the end of their lives. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, if you think about this here, this is the silver ETF. So if you want to buy silver and not have it delivered to your house where someone could rob you, I mean, look at that. That's up 90%.
93. It's unbelievable the move that this has made.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, and you know what? It's not even really overbought at this point because we've had this kind of sideways choppy action. So this morning we're trading up here. So it looks like this is going to be another move higher. And one of the things I would want to mention to our people out there is there's 11 sectors in the market, and a lot of people get really myopically focused on tech, right? Because it's not surprising, the Mag 7, and that's all the media talks about and so forth and so on. So tech hasn't really been going anywhere, right? But guess what? There are sectors that have been going places. For example, consumer staples. I mean, look at the run this thing has had.
Right to that level, man.
Yeah, right.
Right to that level, Mark.
It's pretty amazing.
Sure is. And it'll never stop being amazing.
Yeah, and even on the downside here, and as like you guys all know, I like to show this chart here of the Dow Jones back in the early 1900s. I got his S&P chart now that goes back to 1870. But this is the Dow Jones, and you see the same stuff that we see here, resistance at former resistance levels. The reason why I like to show people this chart is because it really kind of brings home the fact that charts are illustrations of human psychology, and humans have not changed. So just like back in 1905, people bought here and regretted doing so and went to go sell here, the same thing happens here. It's the same psychology. Maybe it was slower back then because of communications and so forth, but people haven't changed. I would suspect if you looked at charts of the stuff that the Romans were trading or the Egyptians, the charts probably looked really similar to what we're looking at right now. There's Costco for you.
Unbelievable. This, I think, is trading with the anticipation of the SCOTUS tariff decision because they've sued the administration.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah. And so I think there was a lot of, I think this recent run here has to do a lot with folks thinking that, that Costco sued. The prediction markets are saying that SCOTUS is probably not going to rule in favor of Trump. And the thought here is that they're going to have to get paid back, and the stock's moving higher on that. Be interesting to see if it holds this level, or really what that decision is.
Right.
I've got another chart here. We've been talking about this almost every single day. It's at, in my opinion, a pretty key level. Can we take a look at Netflix together?
Indeed. Let's see here. Oh, look at that.
So here's the thing. We've been talking about, everyone loves Netflix, it seems. And we've been talking about when is the time to buy this. And obviously now we have the whole Warner Brothers Discovery potential acquisition on the back of it. That's going to cost them a ton of money, this, that, and the other thing. But look at where this chart is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so here's a way to think about it, not for a long, well, I mean, as for a longer term entry point or for a trade. One of the principles about markets is that markets are stocks that are oversold that get to support tend to reverse. So this is a prime candidate for a reversal. So one of the things that we would want to do is think about a trigger, right? So there's a chance that this support breaks and it keeps going down. We're oversold and we're at support. We're at the racetrack where the starter has said on your mark, get set, but they haven't said go yet. Now, what's the go? Because we don't want to catch the proverbial falling knife, right? You don't want to buy something just because it's down. You usually want to buy something when it's starting to go up, because no one's going to catch the absolute bottom.
Sure.
So you put the odds better in your favor. So a potential trigger here could be, all right, if the RSI line turns north, that could be your trigger to get in. If you're a little bit less risk averse, or I should say more risk averse, you could wait for the blue line to cross back above the red line. If the stock keeps going down, that's not going to happen. So if it does happen, it's a signal that the stock may be starting to reverse. You could use the same logic here with a Bollinger Band, where you could say, all right, if we close back within the Bollinger Band, then that's my trigger to buy. Or you could even use both as like a 2-parameter model. All models are sets of rules. So here we have a stock that's at clear support, and your trigger could be if simultaneously we close within the Bollinger Band and the RSI turns north, that's my trigger to buy. And then I would think about a stop out just under the former support level, or the support level, I should say, like maybe down around here, because if it turns out I'm wrong, when support breaks, it tends to be followed by big moves lower, because support breaking tells you that those buyers who created the support are out of the market. They either finished or canceled. So breaking support is an illustration of demand leaving a market. That's the way you should look at it. So that's your initial, like, all right, well, I'm going to get out of this thing before it gets too bad. I was just wrong here, or maybe my timing's wrong. Remember, the difference between successful traders and unsuccessful traders is successful traders take small losses, unsuccessful traders take big losses. And that's, really what it comes down to, regardless of what your trading style is and so forth. And then, just to think about possible sell targets here, maybe, like up around there.
95. Yesterday we talked about 95, 100 probably being the area in which it tops. And the first line that you draw there is at 95, 94. That is too perfect, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people really kind of, they overcomplicate trading. They think about all this like data center stuff and all these models, and a lot of people think that the more the merrier. They'll have all these different indicators on their screen, and it just makes you confusing. And you just got to kind of step back sometimes and just think about it as, hey, this is a market. It's about supply and demand.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in markets, a lot of trading strategies are built on the concept of reversion to the mean. So if you get oversold, meaning you get below the typical trading range as shown by you're below this lower Bollinger Band or you're below the RSI, that's going to draw on buyers who are going to be anticipating a reversion to the mean or a move higher, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a big part of trading. And you can even see it like on pretty much any chart. I mean, the way you would draw a support line or whatever, or a trend line would be like right there. And actually, that's a good example of support becoming resistance.
Sure
but
is.
if you think about it, the trend is really there. And the buyers overdo it, the sellers overdo it, the buyers overdo it, the sellers overdo it. It's just this continuous reversion to the mean.
And it's just a dance around equilibrium, which is what you have there.
Exactly. It's all about finding stuff that is out of equilibrium, right? That's what we want to do as traders. And what's out of equilibrium? Well, things that are overbought, things that are oversold, things that are breaking out or breaking down. So, yeah. Right. So anyway, yeah, that looks pretty, looks like something I'm going to keep my eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is phenomenal because we talk about this stock on a regular basis. Izzy, I did that for you, buddy. I did that for you. I know we're always talking about what are the levels here? What's the price to add? Mark, I love what you did here. Okay, so we've identified that this is a level. Get ready, set. What's the go trigger? You give us two things to look for here: potential recross and recapture of the bottom Bollinger Band, and then also perhaps a turn up in that RSI line. So to answer your question in layman's terms, you can watch those two things when they start to trade up. Maybe then you have a trade setup that's ready to go. And then furthermore, Mark telling you there that the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is that traders don't take big losses, and rather they take small losses. So if you get this trade put on, figure out what your acceptable loss level is. There's your downside. We just gave you some upside targets. That's where it's at. Great plan.
That actually reminds me of something that I was looking at the other day. Now, this is Steve Cohen, who I traded for actually back in the day. I was actually there when he did this interview. But, this guy is the greatest trader of our generation, and you can see it. Look at his performance versus the industry. And this is after his 45% fees. He takes 45% of the profit, and he's still, look at how much he outperforms. Anyway.
When are his Mets going to do that?
What's that? I don't know, man. And now he's
I had to take a pot shot there.
He's building casinos now. I mean, it's like, I guess when you're a zillionaire, that's what you do. But I will say this, though. Steve is very philanthropic. I mean, down at the Stanford Hospital, like he put on this like whole new wing, and at the Greenwich Hospital. So, we have this debate like, oh, the rich don't pay their fair share, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't see poor people giving millions of dollars to hospitals, just saying. Sorry. This is what I want people to focus on here, though. Now, remember, this is a little bit different. I think a retail trader could do better than this because these guys are throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars. My best trader makes money only 63% of the time. Most traders make money only 50 to 55% of the time. The margin of success is small. So think about that. If there's a trader who's working at SAC, who's a prop trader, proprietary trader, he's making millions of dollars a year, and they might only have a win rate of 50%. But the thing is they don't have big losses. If you could go the rest of your life trading and never take a loss bigger than, say, 5% on any position ever, think of how successful you would be, because you wouldn't have any disasters. It's the old golf analogy, is if your bad shots are acceptable, you're going to end up with a good score. So if I go up to the tee there and I hit my driver and I hook it, it's going to go 50 yards into the woods. Now I just blew up, like the round is over. If I go up there and I say, you know what, I'm not feeling so hot here, I'm going to just hit my 5-iron off the tee and I hook it. Well, guess what? It might not be in the fairway, but it'll be in the rough and I'll still have a shot in. So it's not about like the great shots. It's like Tiger Woods says, golf is a game of misses. It's not about the great shots. It's about not having the really, really bad shots.
Yeah. And said another way, when I first got into this business, one of my buddies who's older than me had been trading on his own for a number of years. And I was asking him for tips, of course, like I do everybody. And he said, Ryan, the best tip I can give you is that you must first figure out how to lose money before you learn how to make money. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? How does that make any sense at all? What he was talking about is you have to learn how to keep those losses contained and small so that you can protect your capital. And eventually you're going to have big winners that's going to carry you through that. So that lesson did take me several years to learn, but I'm glad that I did. It sounds like that you're saying the same thing here. Okay. You want to do some other stocks?
Yeah. Anyone got any question? Any thing they want me to look at?
Yeah. So let me know. The Netflix breakdown was absolutely primo. We could also try Redwire, ticker RDW. That's been having quite a nice day, and I know that that's popular amongst our group here.
All right. So what do we got going on here? This thing is trading up. I've looked at this before. Well, let's see. So we're right there. Yeah, so this is actually pretty interesting to look at here because let me mark off where the stock is trading in the pre-market, which is right about there. So you can see that we're
filling a gap.
Well, yeah, but we're right at the top. I just want to get rid of all this. I hate the colors on this volume. So what I would be watching on this is, all right, is this going to break through this support, this resistance here? Because there's a really good chance that there's going to be resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just see what the 1-day chart looks like. Huh. Yeah, so that's what I would be watching on that. I don't think I would jump in it here if you were not in it. I don't think I would jump in it here. I'd probably wait. Because remember, one of the main reasons why we get resistance is remorseful buyers trying to sell, right? Like up here, people buy here, they go to sell here. Well, former support levels can turn into resistance. So this could potentially put a ceiling on it. But if we get above that, if we get to say 14 or so, then I think that might qualify as a breakout. And at that point, there looks like it could be pretty smooth sailing up until up around 20.
Let me ask you, if you're in from that 1198 lower level, or maybe even below that, are you trimming at this resistance point?
Well, I guess in theory, the perfect thing to do would be to sell it, and then if it breaks out, to buy it back. But I don't know. I would probably want to wait for, the pre-market can be pretty volatile. So I'd probably wait for it to open and to kind of see how things pan out in the first half an hour or so.
Okay. I got another one here for you. CEG.
I was just laughing because I saw that comment about the mess.
We got a couple of New Yorkers here, so the comments can get spicy when it comes to the New York baseball teams. There's no doubt. I don't even know if they've figured out that I'm a Cubs fan yet, but we'll see.
Wow. So this is another potential candidate.
Mark, we're only bringing you the good stuff, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you. So it's kind of the same idea with Netflix, right? We have a stock that's at clear support. We're at the race. The starter is set on your market set, but we haven't heard the go yet. The go, remember, potentially could be this line turns north, right? It's like we're sitting right on that 30 level, or we could use the Bollinger Band, like we talked about, close in within it. Another way to do it, there's no right way. Different things appeal to different people. But if we look here at the short term, we could kind of see that this little level around here, not surprisingly, 300, well, let's call 300 and a half, has been a little bit of a resistance level. So another entry point may be, okay, I'm not going to watch the momentum. If we reverse and we break back above this little short-term resistance level, that'll give me some confidence that this reversal has taken place. So this is entry by penetration of certain price levels. But this is the same thing. I mean, this looks like a potential trade here too.
Okay. All right, really awesome. We've got some more time here, I think. Let's see. Broadcom, AVGO.
Wow, there's another one. Yeah, sometimes in markets, you a lot of the charts start to look the same because they're still kind of following the broader market. But exact same thing here. This isn't as oversold as the other ones were because it's kind of been going relatively kind of sideways although it's kind of in the past couple of days. But here, you could kind of do the same thing, even though it's not oversold. An entry could be like, all right, well, if the RSI turns north or if the RSI crosses the midline, the 50 point, or what I see right here is, these levels here. So we're actually, I'm sorry, I didn't see that this is actually trading below this support.
So 317 here this morning.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I apologize on that. I'll blame that one on my bad contact lenses.
Oh, I thought that was going to get blamed on the Mets.
Well, yeah. I mean, they probably had something to do with it too, of course. Although I don't know if I'll go. So yeah, I guess they do suck. I mean, I don't know. They seem to spend a lot of money on this stuff, man. And I guess like Steve was going to go in there and use all like the data science and everything that like they use at the fund. Actually, you know what? I speak too soon on this one because guess what I just saw here? Let's see here. Look at this, could be at a potential support level as well, right? Former resistance level. And that's right where we're sitting now. So it could just be the same stuff that we just kind of talked about. I mean, this stock is going to be pretty oversold, actually, more oversold than this would indicate. Because remember, this just goes back 14 time periods in a straight line. It doesn't account for this like falling out of bed here. So the same kind of thing here. I'd be watching this for a potential reversal.
Okay.
Yeah, oversold stock that's at a potential support level.
Okay. Mark, absolutely awesome here. Do me a favor, have a great weekend. Hopefully you and your family stay safe and warm there this weekend. And yeah, okay. I'll say it. Go Patriots for you, Mark. Go Patriots. I'm sorry my Bears are not there. We were really, really close.
Yeah,
that was really close, man. What a game. And I'm very optimistic for the future. So maybe we'll get another chance. But good luck this weekend. We'll catch up with you next week. Okay.
Yeah, it's just remarkable how the Broncos quarterback breaks their foot on the very last play in overtime.
Yeah. Apparently Stiddy's ready. And I mean, can you, like, the script writers at the NFL, I don't know if you follow some of that back and forth, but Stidham used to be a backup for the Patriots.
Dude, he sucks.
And
let me ask you a question before I go. Why don't the Broncos just have their backup quarterback? Why are they bringing in like a new guy?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I thought they might call Drew Brees. Sean
Payton. It's weird because I think that's got to be a real psychological blow to the offense, right? Well, we've got this backup, but he's not good enough, so you got to bring in like some retread. I mean,
yeah,
very weird.
We'll see how it goes. Mark, we'll follow up with you next week. Thanks a lot.
All right, everyone, have a great weekend. See you next week.
All right, that is Mark Putrino. Really good. Oops. Whoa. Easy, Ryan. Easy, Ryan. I know it's cold, but we got to get this figured out. All right, really good stuff there from Mark, as per usual. Really quick, before we bring on 13, I do want to run down a couple of tweets here for you. I promise. I'll make this brief. We'll get to 13 here in a sec. Let's start street tweets right now. Is my producer gone? Nope. He's there. Producer's got it locked in. First street tweet here is going to be from Zero Hedge. Taco Thunder. Retail investors bought Tuesday's dip in record amounts. And I just got to say how happy that makes me. We were saying this before. We're saying the buy the dip is in. We've brought I've covered a number of different analyst notes. I gave other thoughts here from folks like Anne Marie and Mark and Tim and all of that. And I'm really pleased to see that people bought this dip because they probably were able to make some money here. This is a very, very repeatable pattern. And I think that you can make some money if you just simply don't believe the end of the world nonsense that gets tossed around a lot. Producer, next tweet. Next one here is Peter Schiff. Since its peak in November 2021, Bitcoin is now down over 50% priced in gold. Let that sink in. First question that I have here, let that sink in. Is that a little played? Wasn't that from like 2020, 2021, maybe even a little bit before? Are we still saying this? Y'all folks would have to let me know. Producer, maybe put up a poll. got to get the scientific stuff figured out here today. But nonetheless, here, I think this is a clever use of timing here to give this stat. We'll see how we'll see how this changes. Do some of these metals, in particular gold, continue to trade higher here? Does Bitcoin eventually catch up? Do they reverse and act independently? Definitely victory lap time for the gold bugs, especially those that really enjoy battling with the Bitcoin hodlers, if you will. So we'll keep track of this here from Mr. Schiff. All right, folks, let's go ahead and do our pre-market pulse and say hi to 13. Good morning. How are you doing, dude?
Hello. How are you? How is everybody? How's the chat? I saw myself flash on screen real quick, and I was like,
"Yep,
what?
that was completely my fault. That was completely my fault. Just trying to work the ones and twos here, if you will. But anyway, chat's doing really good here today. It is -8 where I'm at with a real feel of -29. So I've gone on the hoodie here today. But we're going to warm today up here with some awesome setups and trades, and we are going to close the week out with a bang. What do you say?
Let's do it. That sounds good to me.
That's all I needed. Okay, first stock here is going to be Move. This is MOVE, Movano. This stock closed at about $6.97 yesterday and is currently printing 20s. I'm not quite sure what happened to my session. There it is. I'm not sure what happened to the shading, but here it is. You can see the move that this thing has made. Big move in the after hours, another impulse move here today, followed by a regression back to the 65 EMA, which is something that we've seen a whole lot. Now we have another impulse move up to the high. News on this one from yesterday, Corvex secures long-term NVIDIA H200 GPU development with AI driven provider of high performance battery technology to support production, AI workloads. So Movano shares are trading higher after the company announced that Corvex, with which it has recently combined, has secured a long-term NVIDIA H200 GPU deployment. We talked about some of those H200 chips just a little bit earlier. That's driving the stock higher here, up almost 200% here today. Yowza. 5.3% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. It comes on an average 100-day volume of 953,000 shares. We've done 16.8 million here today. We have a micro float on this one, as it is less than 1 million shares. That is likely why we are seeing such a pronounced move here today. 13, what does the chart tell you on this bad boy?
Well, I drew a trend line from the first impulse move in the after hours through the high of the pre-market. That gave us a bit of an area that we, before I came on, we started moving up towards it. So looking to see if we may end up hitting that. Now, if we start to turn around and come back in, we do have the VUFS support around, in $18. That also looks like an area. Then beneath that, the 65 EMA, and then an underside trend line. That if we break, I think that's going to give us the indication that this is certainly going to go lower.
Now, the underside trend line, do I start originating that from the pre-market here today, or did you do it from the origin? Pre-market? Okay, yeah. Perfect. So we're looking at something like this.
Yeah. Now the company, this is on it's a subsidiary or a company that it just acquired. Corvex is the one with the news. So Move is basically the parent company, Movano. But they need cash, and there is an offering on the table. So be very careful with this one. I don't know. I didn't look to see when they did the reverse split that resulted in 860,000 shares in the float. But this offer on the table, I believe, doubles that. Let me double check here.
By the way, that date was October 10th of last year. Interestingly enough, they did a 1 for 15 the year before on October 29th. So it looks like October is the season for reverses for Movano.
Yeah, they've filed to sell 545,000 shares. So not a double, but it's going to take it over 1.4 million shares in the float. Still going to keep it low, but just keep that in mind that they do have this offering on the table. It could come as early as today.
Okay. And honestly, 13 with a 200% move, wouldn't they be dumb not to do it today?
Oh, maybe.
Sure feels like not wasn't trying to put you on the spot. Sure feels like that to me. Really good breakdown there on Move. If you trade this here today, folks, be aware there could be an offering on that. Now, some of those offerings we've seen got bought up and the stock goes higher. So maybe keep an eye on that, see how the stock responds. Really good stuff there on Move 13. Next here is going to be DRCT. Brent is already out here firing off trades on DRCT before we started. Kudos to you for that. We'll give you a one up. Direct Digital Holdings here up 131%. The stock closed at 230 yesterday. Actually did its printed above 6 here today. We take a look at the news here on DRCT, and I don't have a damn thing. I can't. The last piece of news that I have was from Wednesday, January 14th.
Yeah, I think that's the only other thing. And I don't know if there is some other news in the advertising space, because that's what this company does. But they did do a reverse split earlier this month. So and then they had that news about the high compliance practice. So yeah, I don't know what's causing this to move today, but moving it is. So could be that there's some other company that had some news or some wider industry-wide issue with advertising that's causing this to go up. But since we don't know for sure what this is, let's just see what we got here with this stock individually. We're still struggling with the VWAP, so a lot of back and forth between that since for basically the past hour. Now they did, like I said, they did do a reverse split. That was a 55 for 1, and that happened. Looks like that was January 12th. The company does have revenue, but they are going to need cash. I didn't notice if they had a offering filed yet. It doesn't look like they did, but this is going through the motions of maintaining compliance. So that's why they did the reverse split. And they also had another headline here about their enacting of that reverse split to preserve their listing. So that tells you everything you need to know right there. So I think the next page for this is going to be for them to raise capital. I don't think they've announced how they're going to do that yet, but I would expect that to come.
Okay. Good stuff there. DRCT, Direct Digital Holdings. Moving right along here. The next one here is Cust, KUST. This is Custom Entertainment. Looks like the stock closed at about 204 yesterday, ripping here this morning, trading above 4. It looks like we did an exclusive yesterday morning with them. Cycurion seeks to acquire Cust for a $6 to $8.4 million deal. Is this a buyout?
I was trying to figure out what was going on with this one, because I didn't see I didn't see any news prior to January 12th. So I was looking to see if they had merged with another company. Let's see here, and that's what I was in the middle of doing when I came.
Oh, when I surprise brought you on by accident. Okay, cool.
It was formerly Digital Ally.
Oh my God, this is DGLY.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we know about this one.
Yeah, so that makes sense now, because we had all this price action prior to today, like going back years. So yeah,
JD is just skipping ahead here. He's just calling it crust. He's not even calling it cust anymore. It's crust.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to call it today, because it looked a little crusty. But crust. That's fine.
That.
I'm here for it.
Take that. All right. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. Nothing, likely because we just did all that change there. Here's what the chart looks like. So the impulse move took us to 4. We did actually find some support at the 15 EMA. It looks like we're trying to curl here. But given what we know about what this company previously was, to me, this is just a trading vehicle. I would be very quick to take gains on this one personally. If we do get it, we are getting a curl here. Let's see if the volume expands and blows us through the VWAP there. That might give us those $4 pre-market highs as a potential target. What do you think?
It's kind of funny because Digital Ally did a reverse split, and on the other side of that reverse split, they became Custom Entertainment. So
they split and changed to something else.
Yes, they did. So fresh new face here, I guess. But we're still going to use all the other candles from when it was still Digital Ally. I think those are going to still bear some relevance. So if we are going to continue trading up here, looks like we've come up to a resistance area from November 21st. That low that day was down around 324. We are currently at 325 right now, experiencing some upside pressure. And that little wick there is the lowest part of what is a supply zone. So that whole area from about, let's say, 350 to 440 could provide some resistance here for KUST when it was formerly Digital Ally.
Okay.
Crustum the Clown.
Crustum the Clown. I like Jay's comment here. It sounds a lot like Mullen. Right. Do a reverse split, change the name, do something else, try to hide. Yikes.
The 5-minute chart does look encouraging,
yeah,
but we're gonna need to recapture that VWAP. That's the big issue for me right now, is just getting above that. So we'll see what happens when we get through that. But already hit a high of 413. So we did try to chew through that supply earlier, but set this back down underneath VWAP. So that's going to be the next big thing for this one. If it's going to provide a trade, is recapturing that VWAP.
Okay. Awesome stuff there. 13. Let's keep moving on. Looks like SLE. This is Super League Enterprises. This used to be SLGG, right?
That sounds like it might have been.
And this is Ann Hand, right? Yeah. Creator and publisher of content experience and media solution across the globe's immersive platforms. I'm pretty sure that this is. Nonetheless, here, we do have some news here. Super League collaborates with audience intelligence firm Solston to provide services towards predictive audience understanding. Well, yeah. Let's see if we get a little. Go ahead.
This was SLGG. They changed to SLE on September 11th, 2023, and it was accompanied by a 1-for-20 reverse split.
Yep. And fun fact, SLGG, one of my better trades back in the day. That was one that really kind of helped move me ahead. So I do have a special place in my heart for it, but not looking all that great here. It does have an intact short-term trend. Short interest on this name, negligible, 0.42% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, this thing's a ghost town. Nobody seems to care about it. Today, 2 million shares. Float on this is 11.6. Take a look at the financials here real quick. I know you're going to do that. Ann loves to raise money. Okay, what do you think here on SLE, Super League Enterprise?
Well, I think that when I keep my old levels on here, it really does help out, because here we are looking at SLE with some levels that I put on here a long time ago, don't know when, and it's hitting them. 1150 is one of the resistance levels I have, and we went right to that just a moment ago.
And we backed off that.
Now it's coming back down to another area that I have marked off here, 950. So we'll see if that provides any kind of support. But if we do manage to get through 1150, the next area that I have marked off here from how many days, weeks, or months ago was 1250. So we'll see if we can get through that. I don't have any other levels above that. Let me see if I can identify some other areas that it could go to. If we do get a breakout over 1250, it's looking like possibly the 65 EMA, although I do think that this whole supply zone from 250 to 15 is going to probably provide some resistance up in there. But if we do manage to get through that, the 65 EMA is at 1588. Those would be the next two areas above 1250 that I would see, look for resistance. Maybe around 14 we get some resistance, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. SLE. We'll see how that trades here today. Boy, the list is shifting around on me. Let me make sure I grab this one. There were two more that I wanted to go, or just one more, I think, that I had on here. And then we can do whatever the group wants or whatever you want here. Next one that I have here is RVYL. This is Rival, just spelled cleverly. This stock did actually trade up yesterday, really gapped here this morning above 12. But boy, we've got this dreaded retracement formation that we've seen on some of these movers that has really been poor, or has resulted in poor performance, I should say. Perhaps this gets caught by the 200 EMA, which is the purple line that you see, and then maybe we have a potential chance to bounce back to the VWAP. We'll see if it gets any strength. We want to wait for that. We don't necessarily want to front run that. As far as the news comes here, yesterday, it looks like they filed for an S4 advancing a digital merger. So they announced NASDAQ compliance ahead of anticipated merger with Roundtable and filed the appropriate form. That was back from Tuesday, January 20th, though. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Yes, their NASDAQ compliance was simply restored. They announced they were going to do that on Tuesday, so maybe there is nothing fresh here.
It's interesting that all these movers that we're looking at, they all, have the same thing in common, that their float is quite low.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise either. And you're right here, 13. This is 1 million shares.
Yeah, I think the largest float one we've looked at today was Super League with 11.6.
Yep.
So everything else has been 1 million or less. So, and then so as far as the chart goes with our VYL, what is the name of this? I did
Rival.
Rival. Okay, so they're spelling it a cute way. All right. So the 200 EMA. I mean, it looks like the selling has really slowed down. So as we approach this open, we're going to want to see the 200 EMA hold up here. That's also going to be just above this support area of 680. Now, if we do get that support into the open, we're going to want to see a recapture of the 65 EMA, the area that has been giving the price some trouble this morning following the loss of these levels is looks like about the 850, 860 area. Once we lost that area, we tried to recapture it around 8 o'clock. Not able to do so. It's lost its 65 EMA, continued lower. So that's going to, if we recapture the 65 EMA, that's going to be the next big resistance area prior to the VWAP that I would think we need to get through. Looking at the daily chart, if we do manage to do all that, we're right beneath a little gap area that's also features the 65-day EMA. That's at about 860 as well. So that whole area that I was talking about earlier on the 5-minute chart, now looking at the daily chart, that's probably going to be a tough area, all the way up to about 950.
All right, we'll see if we get a trade here on Rival. Really good breakdown yet again, 13. We'll see if this thing really needs to firm up, but if it does, we'll be ready to go. All right,
thanks, Jay. I'm going to write that panel down.
I was going to say, we can actually take a look at that here. This was the last mover that I had. So unless there was something else the group wants, we can immediately go take a look at panel here in a sec, if you'd like. Let me just finish off here with Rev B. What's up?
Nice. I just saw your chart there with Rev B.
Yeah. Rev B. So Revelation Biosciences, this actually had a pop yesterday, midday. I don't know if any of you caught this. I wasn't looking for this because it was a penny stock. Maybe some of you penny players hit it. Popped again in the after hours, twice here in the pre-market. This actually forms a pretty nice trend line to the upside. This is great because if we hold the 200 EMA, this actually gives us a target, especially if we're able to rip through the VWAP there. Taking a look at Rev B here, what do we have? Look, they had a Form 8 yesterday. They announced that they reached agreement with the FDA on the approval for the pathway to Gemini for acute kidney injury, which is AKI. That's what drove this thing in the midday session. This is offering with warrants. Registration telephone. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through this and.
I think while you go through that, I think the concerning thing for me, and maybe
this was excuse me, I'm sorry, I would need to correct that. This was the actual form for that FDA news that we just talked about. So okay, so we're familiar with what's going on here. Short interest 0.72% of the float is shorted, 1 day to cover, trading 20.5 million shares, floats 5 million. Go ahead, 13.
Since we had that news yesterday and the after, well, I don't know exactly when that came out, but we did get a lot of after hours price action. The problem is we haven't been able to hold above the VWAP for too long, even though we've moved past it and held above it for maybe 10 15 minutes, comes right back in and struggles to recapture, and that has continued into this morning. The 200 EMA is providing support for the time being, but man, does this thing look weak. That's going to have to be the big the big hurdle to get over here, is just recapturing the VWAP. And if it does, it's going to have to hold above it longer than 10 or 15 minutes. That would be the big resistance for me, is trying to recapture VWAP. If it can't do that, then this thing's probably coming back down to under $1.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. We can go. That was it for the movers here that I had. Did you have something else that maybe we did not cover?
No.
Okay. So we can go ahead and take a look at some of these other stocks here. But before we do that, I want to get the bills paid here. Producer, that is not where it's supposed to be, by the way. So I'm going to need you to help me with that. But Knights Lance here saying silver has been on a huge run and good to me. Matt Maley has put several great option trades up there. We are actually running a webinar with Matt Maley. Here we go. So I think, do we have a QR code for this? Producer, let me know how to trade the silver surge in volatile markets. Silver just delivered one of its strongest moves in years as volatility swept through macro-driven markets. Matt Maley breaks down how actively trimmed silver call positions managed risks along the way and stayed positioned for further upside. So if you want to follow Matt, you want to learn how he does this with all of the different silver stuff, we have a webinar for you. Let me see if I have that here. Here we go. Here you are, folks. Go ahead and scan that QR code. That is a free webinar. Oops. Thank you, producer. I think you're getting it. Your producer's taking care of it for me. Appreciate you. All right. Scan that QR code. Matt Maley will teach you how to do that. He's been absolutely hot. Sorry. Needed to get that out of the way here, 13. What is, do you want to take a look at panel here first?
Sure, we can. I was just writing it down because Jay was mentioning that gentleman that told him about Huntington Ingalls also told him about this one. So definitely want to look at it. I didn't have it on my shipping watch list, so it's on there now. I'll have to dive into this one, but appreciate it, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah, Jay's saying really quickly here, I like it better in the sevens. So Jay doing what we love here, not chasing this huge green candle. Maybe wait that one out. But this will at least give us something to look into.
Yeah. What was the news? I mean, this move that we had, that was yesterday, right? So what was the news that took this thing up? I just only see volatility halts. I don't see anything other than that. Yeah. So I'd have to dive into this just to learn more about it. But it looks like this is one of those dry bulk carriers that, to Jay's point, uses the icebreaker ships.
Okay, so we'll probably need to dig into this a little bit so far. Really good stuff, 13. All right, did you want to, Izzy's asking for Redwire. We already looked at Redwire with Putrino, but 13 wasn't on. I know this is in your wheelhouse, 13. I don't know if you want to do a chart breakdown here, talk about Redwire a little bit. Give me 1 sec, I'll be right back. Right?
Yeah, so, I closed my position in Redwire once we were getting over 12 there. Even though that now that I look at this pattern in hindsight, it seems like this could have been more of a megaphone pattern that has taken us up here, but that's fine. We are filling this gap from August last year, so could see some back and forth. But one thing that I was keeping an eye on is a couple of trends. We just this move above 13, or actually it's more like 1260. Takes us over one of the shorter term trend lines that I had from when we created that August gap. But there's a longer term trend line that starts in February last year that follows all the the price jumps that we had on the way down. And with this move here today, we're getting over that long term trend line. So don't know if we're gonna be able to hold above this or not. I would expect there to be some selling pressure. But if we do end up closing above 13, that could be a good sign for Redwire to go higher. So I would need to see what we end up getting for the rest of the day. But this gap fill here from August, I'd imagine we would see some selling from that initially. And where'd Ryan go? Hey, no worries, Izzy. How are you doing? And then what else did we want to look at while he's gone? Anyone watching on or in it? I'm not in it. You've been keeping an eye on it. Let's see what it's looking like today. So I just gave the breakdown for Redwire. You still have the trend line on there. That's great. I think that was just saying if we manage to close over 13, that would also be a close over the trend line, and we could see some more upside thereafter. But the gap fill is pretty concerning. So I think initially we might see some selling, but I'd want to see what happens throughout the rest of the day. Monday, we'll come back and take a look at this and see what we got from Friday.
Yeah, and don't forget, this was a conviction buy from our friend Scott Redler over at T3. Yeah, oh yeah. And he I think this, I can't remember exactly what the price was, but I believe it was in the 9 handle, maybe even a little lower than that. been a pretty good move here for him so far. So good stuff there on Redwire. Okay. We're good on, we got 4 more minutes. Is there anything else that you want to take a look at?
Somebody was, so I say somebody like I don't know who it was. We were just looking at, is Jeremy. We were just looking at on.
Okay, perfect. Let me bring that up on screen here.
And this one did see some selling following what may be considered a double top. It's kind of skewed, so I'm not sure if I would, but it does have the resolution that a double top would have, where you get these two moves up to $50, and then both times it came back underneath the 200-day SMA. So here we are trying to recapture this 200-day SMA. Looks like we're not above it quite yet. But if we do manage to recapture it, then that could, be a good sign that we're going to go higher. I'm not sure that we are going to recapture this, so we do need to see that support from the 500-day SMA hold up there. I'm not sure about this one right now. It doesn't look like it's really positioned to go higher quite yet. I think we could see some lower prints before it goes higher. And if that happens, then I'd be looking for support down around 42.
Okay. Really good stuff here. I just got to say, I know this is only anecdotal. I absolutely love these shoes. This is the first shoe brand that really makes me forget about my New Balance shoes. These things are absolutely awesome.
And everything I just said could be completely nullified with the SCOTUS ruling. So I don't know what kind of exposure they have overseas. I'm pretty sure it's substantial, because I don't think they're an American.
They're not. They're a Swiss company.
Okay. So there you go. So that 200-day SMA, that's going to have to get taken out if we're going to see that upside. Otherwise, those support levels I mentioned before 42, looks like 44 could be a big support area as well. But yeah, those would be the two to the downside if we can't recapture the 200.
Okay. Jeremy's saying I have some March 20. Those are the expiry, not the $20, but March 20 calls, looking to cash them after earnings. Quick peek here. Let's see. Earnings is confirmed for, excuse me. It's unconfirmed so far, but it looks like we're going to get that in early March. Also, keep in mind, we are also going to get that next earnings report for Amer Sports, I believe, around that same time. Okay, end of February. This is the one I'm waiting for here. I'm hoping that sends us above 40 here, and then I'll cash that call position as well. Okay, good stuff there on ON. We got less than a minute. I'm moving over to the main workspace here. Let's get ready to roll. Cust at the top of the list. And actually, interestingly enough, so it looks like this did try to go through the VWAP, pulled back and back tested it.
It broke through my VWAP, and yeah, it's above it right now, back testing it as support. So this is not looking too bad here for the open. Still going to be a little bit careful, because I do see some sellers in the way at 354 and 370. But yeah, this is not a bad setup. We might get some good upside here out of the gate. We'll have to see in the next 5 seconds.
Okay. Bernhard, yes, the shoes are good for running in cold weather, but they're good in hot weather too. They actually feel like they give me pretty good traction on the light snow, which I'm not used to. Anyway, market is open. Let's go, folks. Let's have a great Friday here today.
Let's see what we got. So making that move up to the trend line. Getting pretty close to hitting it. I think about 22.85 might be the price that it hits. KUST, so that setup did not tell us much of a lie. That looking pretty good right there.
That's trying to go higher as we speak.
Looking for, I think it's if we get past 375, it's going to be trying to shoot for 4 here. So we'll see if that ends up happening.
Yep.
MOVE. This is great. Right to we're getting right to that trend line here. We're almost there. Just about 20 to 30 cents away.
Okay, now we're pulling back here on Cust. This is kind of what I wanted to wait out. Ooh, nasty yank. This is what I was afraid of.
Yep. Got moved down in Cust.
So this is actually at the VWAP here. We'll see if this can actually hold the VWAP and give a trade.
We did get a little pull and move there as well, but that got bought back up, and now it's still trying to push higher.
Boy, this thing here on Cust, this got slammed right there.
Redwire also saw some selling out of the gate that took it underneath the 65 EMA, but it found support at 1260, reversed, and now it's trying to recapture VWAP.
RD dubs.
Yeah, if that was a place, I'd go eat there.
It's a,
That's what
almost
Arnie
kind of a
does.
kind of a play off the B dubs,
Yeah.
right?
Getting a mention on Side of Space. This has been another space stock that's had some pretty good moves over the past month.
I do.
A lot of ups and downs. Since let's see, actually since December we started getting some pretty good movement. But when the year turned, we sold off a little bit down to the 20-day SMA. Now we're riding that back up, looking like we're trying to hold over 4 at the moment.
Okay, so I do. I like, let's have this thing like really kind of blast through 420 and just get the lulls rolling here pretty early. That would be something else. Looks like it tried to, and then it stopped there. We'll see what we get here on Saidu. Okay, what else we got here?
Getting a rebound in crust.
Yes, we are.
Move just so close to that trend line. I just love these trend lines, man. But if this continues higher, we'll be looking for a breakout of this trend line. But if we start to get a rejection,
you know what? Let me re-add that. That's a really good call.
Support's going to be 20. If that doesn't hold up, 18. I think I mentioned 18 in the pre-market, and then we have our 65 EMA beneath that, down where the underside trend line is.
Okay.
All right.
Cost, guys. Cost. It's going. Cust. So this pull down to the 15 EMA, that was the move, the recapture of the VWAP here. I actually hit this for 10 cents. So kind of disappointed there, but at least I got something on the screen. Cust, this might go to 4 here.
Yeah, it's certainly looking for 4 right now. No closes in that 4 area, by the way, but we did get up to 413 in the pre-market.
Yep.
Got sellers stepping in, trying to push this thing back down.
Looking at the options here.
RDW now losing 65 EMA. Move pushing through that trend line.
Caterpillar sinking out of the gate here. Saw some an unusual option trade. Those were the 630 calls. I almost wonder if that's skedaddling from the trade there.
Amazon is ripping, says Izzy.
Okay.
Why am I not surprised? He's always on Amazon. He's always
he is. What is Amazon at here? I guess I'll just pull it up on this chart. So 236. So Izzy, when we talked about this before, like, let's zoom out a little bit. Remember when we talked about this before, and we talked about this thing really being like the 230 being the level to hold there? Well, let's look at the chart here and let's see what happened. How about that? This area right in here, it's more of an area than a round number there. 228, 230. This seems to be the area that held here on Amazon. Izzy, here's what I'm thinking. You think this can make a move towards 240 here and maybe move higher? Let me know. Izzy, are you in trades? No, I did hit Cust there. I was very, very quick. I did not trust it at all. I got 10 cents out of it. So that's about it here so far for day trades. But I'm open to it. I'm open to some more here today. IDAI, nice little move out of the gate on low volume.
Yes, it is. And also getting a mention here for Altimmune. This having not just a good day today, but it also had a good day yesterday. That took it up to a very long-term trend line. This trend line that I have drawn here starts back in July of 2020.
Okay, so really quickly here, just to answer the question, I want to check those Altimmune unusual calls because someone was talking about that earlier here. Lion thinks the Netflix bottom is in. So Lion thinks that 80 level is going to hold that bottom. Remember, we just talked about Mark Putrino. Maybe we want to see that RSI curl up and be the trigger for us. I like Netflix today if it dips. I think so. Izzy, let's take a look at that RSI on the daily and maybe even the Bollinger Bands and see where Netflix is closer to the close. And then Lion also does agree Amazon can go to 240 there. Good morning, Wisdom. And it was H&H Tactical on the alt calls. Thank you. And that was yesterday, you said. Is that correct? On alt?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Oh, I was sorry. I was asking H&H Tactical. I think she said that yesterday there were some crazy alt calls. I'm going to see if I can find them here. I don't have really anything. Did I have a filter on here? Yeah, I sure did. Let me reset those. And let's try this again here.
Rev B ripping right now.
All right. So really quickly here were your alt calls yesterday. Indeed, it looks like it was the out of the money 10 calls. Trader bought 1,000 of them. It wasn't a huge trade though, only 36K in premium. I say only 36K like I'm throwing that around in option positions, but nonetheless, paid 35 cents for those, it looks like. This is all I see here. The expiry on that one was middle of 2026. Some other in the money calls, a little bit shorter dated there, end of January and also end of February. That's all I got for alt.
Crust running into trouble around 4, just like it was in the pre-market.
Yeah, I should have held that one a little bit longer. That we talked about it. That was dumb. I just got spooked when it started to move in my favor, but that's okay.
Yeah, Rev B. This one getting some movement here. It could go up to 130 before it finds some resistance. That's where it's been finding resistance since the after hours yesterday. So we'll see if it can go higher than that. But 130, that's the tough spot for Rev B. SLE, this thing sold off out of the gate, went all the way down to 7.
SLE.
Or SLE, yeah.
Interestingly enough, SLB Schlumberger is actually moving right here out. No, it's my fault. I misheard you. Here's your SLE though. Big time retracement on that.
Yeah, SLB had earnings today.
Market is indeed pulling here. So 687. We talked about 690 really kind of being a key spot there. We were at 13. We talked about that yesterday. Really unable to break that yesterday. Haven't really made a great move at it yet here. We've been pretty much under it the entire pre-market. Market pulling here a little bit. S&P, Qs, and Dow all moving to the downside. And Bitcoin, by the way, slammed 88,800 on the futures. That's at the morning lows.
Yeah, lots of market downside right now.
SLB, I'm seeing here, company can ramp up in Venezuela with safety parameters. So SLB also looks like it's moving on that and the earnings, like you had mentioned earlier, 13.
So move, we got that print above the trend line, went up to 2350, came right back in. Now it's trying to get back above VWAP. Could see another move here. There's a seller away at 22. Crust still trying to push higher, still getting rejected at 4. Looks like not a whole lot else. And red wire still struggling to recapture 13. Not me, the price. Raya gave up all of yesterday's gain. Yeah, I just saw that. Raya had a huge drop. They popped in the pre-market on some news about them seeing increased demand for their generators, but gave it all back and went lower. I wonder if it's just shaking folks out. We've got a halt now with SLE.
Here's the one thing that I want to remind you guys on Raya. We talked about this being one of the thinnestly traded stocks out there. Look what it did the last time. This is when we were talking about it in happy hour, where some of you folks that were holding it really made some good money. Not only did it retrace that last move, but look, it went lower 3 sessions after that. So now here we popped yesterday. We retraced the entire move. We popped again here to the same area, retraced the entire move. Now it looks like we're going lower. I'll be honest, I don't like this at all. This action to me, this is extremely weak.
Yeah, I wonder if there's just a lot of people trying to get out of this.
See, that's the thing. When you have a low float stock, it moves up quickly, but if you're not out, might be tough, especially when it starts to go against you. Not a good move here in Raya for sure. COF, this is Capital One Financial. They reported earnings yesterday, went lower. Looks like they re-challenged those earnings lows down there, 223. This looks like it actually might. This is still down 4.25%. I also want to check in on Intel because that was down. Okay, so okay. Intel back testing the trend line. On the larger chart, I have a larger term trend line that goes in the other direction. But recently, for the quick short-term trading here, we do this trend line from its recent highs. If we zoom in here, you can see exactly where Intel is finding support. That is not a coincidence at all. Here's what I want to know from the group. Who's confident in Intel right here at 47? Let me take a look at the options. Maybe I'll ask Anne Marie about Intel today too. Now with the earnings out of the way,
I think 40 is better.
Okay, yeah. So you still want more of a pullback on this?
Yeah, I remember yesterday we were talking about I could certainly see this going to 48. Well, we got that in the after hours, and now here we are seeing 48 as a big resistance level. So with that price action on my mind, I think that this could still go lower. And if it does, I'd be looking, down around 40, maybe 42, but I think 40 would be better.
Okay, so some knee-jerk reactions here from the group. This is exactly what I wanted. Hakeem, not trading Intel, not trying it. Izzy, not trying it. Daniel, not trying it. Jay, not trying it. Jay here, a little bit more context, which I love. No hurry, maybe wait this 3 days out. On the flip side, Moto Guru, trying this. What is how are you trading this for the upside? Do you just have stock? Are you looking at a short-term trade with options? I'm just interested because it does look like it's finding some support here. Lion, no surprise here, not touching Intel even with my money. Well, Lion, I will say I appreciate you not just carelessly losing money for me. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then Veggie Girl here saying waiting for the dip to settle.
Yeah.
And Astro K saying I think it's going to hold 46.
Maybe. I see where there's support around 44, up to 40, 44 to 45. But I still think that this is probably going to end up coming in. There's a trend line that I have here that we're coming down to, and I don't know that it's going to hold up. You have the 20 and 50-day SMAs beneath 44 right now. I would think that we're going to come down to test at least one of those, and if that's the case, we're going to go under 44. Okay. I think I like Jay's wait 3 days here. Don't be in a rush for this one, Jay. I think that's really smart. Yeah, I think the time to get it was down when it was under 20. That was a really good time because it was just going sideways for months. As a matter of fact, it was going sideways for over a year. There's plenty of time to buy it. And then as soon as we got that news that NVIDIA bought it, I think that might have been the big catalyst it needed to take it higher.
Okay, interestingly enough here, so Adobe, this is a beaten down software name. This now looks like maybe a second day in a row here of a bounce back. Let's check some other software names here. ServiceNow also trading higher. So it looks like software getting a little bit of a break here. Am I missing something? Snow?
They were probably just really hammered, and so bargain hunters.
Oversold. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
SLE getting a move back over VWAP. Crust is still trying to fight with that $4 resistance. If this gets rejected here, we might see this come back in. Move tried to make another move over the trend line, and it did get over it, but it came right back underneath it, now hitting a high of 23.90. DRCT, this thing is now testing its 65 EMA. Not looking great here. If this candle closes underneath the 65 EMA, I think we could see this go down to 425. Redwire, after getting support from the 65 EMA, is still trying to push and hold above 13. So we'll see if in the next 15 seconds if this can finally close above the VWAP in the regular session. That's the changes so far. Man, Energy Transfer has just been amazing lately.
ET, right? That's ET?
Yeah. I started buying this or I might have been in December, but I think I bought it in December. But I think I was also picking this up earlier this month as well. What a great move here off of this consolidation down around 1630. I was expecting this to go lower. I had orders to buy this if it did, but man, all this energy news has just sent midstreams, and we have all this positive activity with the oil producers like Halliburton and SLB.
Now we saw SLB moving. How are some of the other oil names moving? Here's COP, still in this, by the way. Okay, it looks like we're going to try and retake 100. That'd be golden. CBX is another one that we've talked about here. Yep. Looks like that's trading higher as well.
Same thing with ExxonMobil, even though I don't think they're getting the same kind of treatment in Venezuela that the others are. Yeah, these are all looking, energy's looking pretty good. And energy was one of the more hammered down sectors last year. So, looking for energy to do better this year.
Yeah. XOM hit all-time highs.
EPD is another good midstream.
Yes, it did.
Enterprise Product Partners, I believe is what it's called. Yes. This is another midstream. This one and ET were my two favorite midstreams during COVID when they were getting absolutely hammered down. They were so cheap. So, maybe I do have some regret that I didn't hold on to all of this, but they had some really great opportunities during COVID, and these are some really good trades. But I do like APD. I do like ET. Those are some really good midstreams, I believe.
LAC Lithium America's pulling back here. That's in that minerals section there, or a segment there. TMC, this actually going the opposite way. Roll through a couple of these others. Here's Move. This stopped right at our trend line. Stop us if you've heard that before. Good Lord.
Yeah, DRC. This is not looking great. It's now closing underneath the 65 EMA. I think this may end up going lower.
Okay.
And Crust, we finally broke through that those pre-market highs just barely though. 422 now the current high. Still have that seller in the way at 420. So he doesn't want anybody to get any higher than him, I guess. SLE, this is still holding above the VWAP, though I get the sense that if we do get a move here, 950, an area that I had previously, that's going to provide some resistance. Rival, still messing around with its 65 EMA and the VWAP. Rev B, this, it's up at the area. What's that? Go ahead.
No, I just had the ticker wrong.
Yeah, Rev B up at the area where it's been finding resistance since the after hours yesterday and kind of the regular session the day before. I think that this is going to run into some trouble right in this area here from about 130, 135, where it's been experiencing selling pressure. Redwire now lost the 65 EMA. It's got another minute 40 to see if it can recapture it, but kind of going sideways here. I think this was, we kind of outlined how I think even Mark Putrino mentioned how we are kind of have filled the gap, and this might not be great up here. So if you are interested in Redwire, I'd say give it some time to come back in. We did have a nice run recently all the way up through 13.
Pass here. This is one of the silver plays that gets mentioned often. This obviously trading higher here with the back of, or on the back of silver itself. Netflix continuing to scream to the highs. That was a good mention. I'm really curious as to where this closes. Lion, I know you said the bottom is in. Izzy, I'm curious, I guess, do you think the bottom is in here? Let me actually add the Bollinger Bands here. And looking on the dailies, let's see. Do we actually get back up and close above that? I've got the value 84.47, that channel on the Bollinger Band. So I'm going to be looking at this for close, maybe take a handful of these shares over the weekend.
For Netflix?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because when we were talking about Mark, he was talking about it looks like it's at a spot to go, but we haven't confirmed. The analogy he used is that the race starter hadn't said go. And he offered two things to look at. Look at for the RSI to start curling back up. That might serve as an entry trigger. And then also look for a recapture of the bottom range of the Bollinger Band, which is what I have here on the screen. So I don't know that there's necessarily any move yet. Let's see where this is close to close. We're looking at this on a daily time frame. We want that daily candle to be drawn. So
you got resistance at 86. And when you get through that resistance, you're in the gap fill territory up to 87. So that could be a good, measure of how much upside you're going to get if you do get an 86 breakout. I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen at 90, even though we've talked about how this could, go back up towards 95, 100. I think that getting past 90 is going to be a big step to ensuring that we get to those 95 to 100 prices. But I would think that given all those the levels I just mentioned, it's going to need to see some really good buying volume to bring the price back up. We'll see if we end up getting it, but I think that there could be this might be a near-term bottom. I don't think that this is one that I'd be jumping into to hold for a year. I think it could still go lower in a year's time.
Sandisk mentioned here. Let me actually hide these Bollinger Bands for right now. Sandisk here, good mention by Joe. This is getting spanked here today. Indeed, this is the interesting note here, though. But 470 to me is interesting here on Sandisk. Can we hold this? This was yesterday's low, and this was a pretty extreme bounce from yesterday's low. 470 to 510. This was a 40-point move intraday. Be curious to see what Sandisk does down here.
Big halt down move in move. And then Crust also saw a big pull all the way down to VWAP. They have a seller walking the price down. Don't know if he just got taken out yet, but be careful. We're getting a little bit of a market pull here, especially on some of these mover names. Looks like DRCT is not having a great time trying to recapture the 65 EMA, although it looks like it is trying. Redwire, now it's struggling to recapture the 65 EMA. So looking like things are starting to turn down a little bit here.
Wisdom, take care of yourself. Nice to see you
Wisdom.
here today. Hopefully all is well in your corner of the world.
Backbone video mentioning that DJT is pumping up here, and we had some news yesterday. I'm trying to think of which company it was that was they were bringing something.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that had anything to do with the move here today. But looking at DJT, this has a big area of consolidation here from about 16 to 18. So it's going to be a tough area to get through. But we aren't too far away from the 200-day EMA. I'm sorry, SMA. That's going to be at about 1739. Looks like we could, if we have enough volume, we could end up getting through that. But that consolidation from 16 to 18, big question mark for me. Let's see what else we got. Silver above 90. THH open. I haven't looked at that one this morning. What's that doing? THH try hard holdings. Well, I think trying hard
is that actually what it's called for real?
Yes,
Try hard holdings.
Yep.
Is this like a meme?
I don't know, but if I'm looking at the price action here, and I think, wow, this looks pretty meme-ish. This thing ran all the way up to 55 earlier this week, or I'm sorry, it looks like last week, and then it came right back down, printing new lows, and now here we are down underneath $1.
It was PSQH yesterday. Thank you, Caddyshack.
Thank you. So don't know if it's moving off of any of that news, but here we are. Redwire is still trying to recapture 65 EMA. Same thing with DRCT. It's trying to hold above it. Waiting for that unhalt and move. Crust, really big move down through VWAP. Might be time to look at something else other than Crust. This might need some more time to.
I still love that we're calling it Crust, even though the ticker is Cust. Just as a reminder. But
I don't want to get
confused with trade earlier.
I don't want to get confused with Costco.
That's true. Actually, it's not
bad.
We all know what you mean anyway. So
the only one that's looking decent here is Rev B, and that's actually hitting the area where we could see a lot of selling pressure. Lots of sellers in the way here from 130 to 140. This is the area that it was having trouble with in the pre-market and in the after hours. This is where we find out if it's going to make a new high, or if it's going to get rejected here like the others.
I'm sorry, I got distracted reading some stuff there. What ticker were you looking at?
Rev B.
Rev B.
Yep.
Altimmune, by the way, continuing higher, 6 test coming. Here's Rev B.
Yeah, so we're right there. Just waiting to see if it peters out or if we break through.
65 EMA cross on volume, sent it through the VWAP. It just paused a little bit there and went to the top end of the range. This is actually a pretty sweet move, despite being a really cheap stock.
Rev B?
Yeah. Pretty decent move here today.
Looks like move is open and heading lower, so maybe we get some support down at the bottom end of the channel that we drew, the underside. Oh, hey, look at that. Microsoft looking good.
Well, the reason I'm looking at this, call sweep. We had a call sweep at the 465 for February, 250 contracts. Trader spent $301,000. And then shortly after that, we had a call sweep expiring January 30th. Where did that go? Call sweep expiring January 30th for the 460. Trader spent $1.25 million on that. They bought almost 1,300 contracts on that Microsoft move. Looks like traders thinking this is going to 460 here by the end of January next week.
Okay.
So that is a notable unusual options trade. Jan 30 Microsoft 460 call. Trader spent 1.25 mil.
DRCT, this one went lower down into a demand zone from the pre-market around 420. So this might try to turn around here. Volume still isn't looking great, so I don't know if it's going to be able to recapture levels, but this is a nice area of support. I'd watch for a recapture of the 65 EMA, but we're going to need some more volume if we're going to go back up to 5, I think. THH, Tryhard Holdings, that's in an upside halt at 116 after getting support from VWAP.
Pretty Panda, good morning. Nice to see you, saying a great bounce back on IBRX.
And Red B just took off through that 135 area where we're finding resistance. So just had a nice 10-cent blast right there.
See what Rival is doing. Yikes. No bueno. Back down to the 200 EMA.
Yep. Potentially losing it too. And Red B, seller stepped right in, started walking it down from 145.
Freeport, this is your copper stock. Looks like this is trying to trade up here. Ondas doing its best to hold on to 12.
Yeah, it looks like Move is trying to find support down here. I don't know if it's done selling, but it's certainly trying to get its footing around 1880. Excuse me. Anything interesting out there, folks? MU dip and open again. Watch.
Here, we can bring up Alt is kind of interesting on the back of those call sweeps. Alt moving higher here today. Here's Micron. So it's interesting. This is the inverse of what SanDisk was doing, unless that's bouncing now. Yeah, well, SanDisk so far it's trying to hold that 475. SanDisk much weaker than Micron here today.
There's our 400 print
on MU.
Finally hit that. I mean, you know, Lion was saying that this is going to go to 400. I agreed, and I think it's going to go higher. Still want to see some kind of cooling, though. I don't want this to get too extended to the point where the corrective move ends up being something like $50 to $100.
Yeah, unless we're able to play that to the downside, just saying.
Okay. Man, lots of stuff looking weak now. Some stuff looks like it's trying to recover, but lots of things weak.
And then speaking of that, here's a look at the SPY. So we talked about the SPY trading down at least early. It's basically just kind of range bound here within the pre-market range. It is at the top end of the range. We discussed earlier 690 really being one of the key levels there. So 688 and a half. We'll see if 690 can get recaptured. That'd be the level I'd keep an eye on. And then Meta. We talked a little bit about Meta earlier. The news that I had on Meta was that might actually make a possible long trade idea here. Here's what Meta looks like. Nice little move above yesterday's highs, and that's on the back of a pretty good day yesterday, too. Meta holders are happy. Indeed, they are, Matthew. Are you one of them?
I am looking at CABA. Joe put it on the screen here. So he's mentioning that it did have some insider buying and bumped it up 30% yesterday. I can see that was a very high volume day. Typically, when I look at a daily chart with this, I could see that these high volume days it has been met with some, not necessarily the same volume, but a very, very big red candle the following day. Wondering if we're going to get that here today as well with Kava. This is I'm looking at October 9th and October 31st. Both days afterwards, big red candles, giving back everything. So wonder if this is we're going to see the same thing here. Now I can see how this has been trying to get above 350 since October. So if it does hold up here and we don't get that big sell-off, then 350 is going to be the spot I'd be looking at for a breakout.
Okay. Big of Bees wants to take a look at the Qs. Let's take a look at QQQ here. Here's what the daily chart looks like. Still kind of sideways. I think we've talked about maybe 629, 630 being the spot. Here's your intraday chart, though, on the Qs. I think more immediately than that is going to be the 622 level, no?
$600 kind of stands out to me. Let me look at something.
Okay.
Here.
And while you're looking at that, it's time to do a victory lap here. Ben Sui, every trade today came from the Benzinga screener. In at 386,
Fantastic.
368, out at 405. Guess I've earned that pro discount. Guess that pro tool helping you earn some money there, Ben. Let's register, ring that. Let's go. Rustam, what's going on? Thanks for the donation. Appreciate it. Please take a look at Lucid bag holding from yesterday. Oh no, we talked about Lucid this week. We talked about this being, just kind of a short-term mover here. It did look yesterday like it maybe wanted to try and bounce back and retake some of this, but no go here. Rustam, I would say that, man, if this thing can't get back above 120, we might probe some lower levels here. Maybe 98 cents. Maybe that would be the support. No bueno, though. These movers here, got to be careful with these.
Yeah, I mean, the Lucid, this has a recent history. I mean, 2025 shows a lot about how this works, where you get these moves up one day, and then the next day it gives it all right back. So much so the case with this one, where we just kind of gave back everything and more. Same thing happened in September last year, May last year, and April last year. So, I mean, you might get another opportunity with another headline. Let me see what the most recent one was. I forgot.
Oh, Lion giving this the death blow. Lucid is just like Mullen.
Let's see here. I want a contract from the Department of Veterans Affairs. So, Lion, I don't think Mullen ever had a contract with Veterans Affairs. So Lucid might still have
a good point.
Lucid might still have a chance. But the next time, if there's another big move coming, just be sure you sell into that. I don't think this is one I'd want to hold on to. I don't even know if they've done their mixed securities shelf yet. But they are looking to raise capital, so I don't know if that's happened yet or not. Sorry to hear about this, Rustam, but make sure that you keep an eye on this for if there's another move coming. If there is, make sure you get out of that. Whatever happened to Tuna? I don't know. I haven't seen him this year.
Me either. Or Crow. Or Mike.
Maybe they're still on their winter vacations.
PAS continuing to move higher here.
Move down to that trend line and trying to hold above the 65 EMA. It's beneath it at the moment. We have a little less than a minute left to see if it can hold above here. If this reverses, might be able to get back up into the 20s, but I don't want to get ahead of this. Let's see what this current candle gives us.
Market is bouncing here, by the way, across the board. All we had to do was pull up the cues, Bigabees.
Yeah, crust is down here at 315 again. This was, where it was getting support in the pre-market following its impulse move. So if this loses, 290, this might be finished for the morning.
Glad we hit that early.
Mm-hmm.
Glad we hit that early and weren't greedy on it. Took the gains early.
Yeah, Try Hard Holdings did actually try hard. It got up to 141, and it's backing off now. I see a very large seller in the way at 141, 142. So we're going to need to see some big volume, bigger than this that we're already getting if we're going to take out that seller up there. Otherwise, it's going to probably come back in. Okay, what else is looking good here? Not a whole lot. At least as far as the movers go. Those are all back in.
Nope. Supric is mentioning that Rival is going.
That's getting above the 65 EMA right now. It's certainly trying. This is spready, so we might get some prints that take us up to like 875, maybe higher. Just be careful with this one though. It's the spread on this is at least 10 cents, and it might be more in some cases. So just be careful.
Jay here saying this is the first day in 2026 where large cap tech is doing better than the IWM. So, Jay, do you think that this is a one-day thing or maybe a knock-on effect? Like, is it one day? Could we have multiple days of this? And it looks like Hoth outside. I'm not even kidding. It's so cold. There's nothing's moving.
I thought they smelt that on the outside.
You know what? I knew that this was coming. So last night, the movie that I put on to go to sleep, I just threw on Empire. I was like, I'm going to go full embracement of the cold here. We're going to start the movie right off. It was awesome.
THH right up at that cellar that they're trying to take out. Going to need to see a little bit more volume to go through it. They're hitting it right now. It's going to be enough.
THH, this is actually a pretty good move.
Slightly higher print.
Billy here saying Tesla Robotaxi will be global network. There was talk about that this morning. We actually talked about that during the news segment. My sleep movie was Borat. That's what you're laughing at.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You go to sleep now. Okay.
I used to have one of those sounds on the board. I don't think I do anymore, though.
Some of the best lines I'm not going to repeat, but that was a really good movie for one-liners. All right, so we are getting a little backing off here.
Yeah, I don't have that anymore. Damn.
Rev B, so that hit 145, made a slightly higher print, and this thing came right back in. It's under VWAP now.
Jane says, Ryan, when it's that cold out, what happens when you have widespread power outages? A lot of praying happens that it comes back on. If you have the ability to, if you have a fireplace, that can really help. But yeah, losing electricity during this time, extremely, extremely dangerous.
So, So9 is, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. They're saying that they're going to they might take a position in Soundhound. This is getting hammered this morning here.
Are we near a support level for him to take a position there?
Let's see here.
This is hammered on volume too. This actually looks like a breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, and this is down from October highs of like 20 and change. 22.17 was the high actually in October. So this thing getting cut in half. It's kind of interesting because this is in an area where there's some consolidation. There's some greater consolidation down underneath this. It looks like 875 might be a better spot, but this, I don't think this is a bad, not a bad idea for a trade, given all this downside that's experienced recently. So we're thinking here that this is potentially a bottoming area because it kind of looks like it might be, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to trying this yet. And you might be right that this is this is a good trade spot here, a good point of entry, but I would need to know why we've been experiencing so much downside. I have an idea why, with the whole NVIDIA and AI thing, but it still looks like this may be able to go a little bit lower. So good luck on your trade. I'd be curious to see if this ends up working out because it looks to me like it might, but I also think that this could still see some more downside.
And then Microsoft, Lion here asking about Microsoft, asking when it's reporting here. Microsoft earnings in 5 days. It's going to be Wednesday of next week. And you know what? Cue it up, baby. There's that.
It's the same day we get the rate decision.
Where is...
Which will probably be pause.
Here we go. Here's your earnings calendar for next week, folks. Take it in. It's also beautiful, I think. Shout out to our graphics team here. Here's what we're looking at for earnings next week. Let me ask the group here, what earnings are you most excited for next week? Is it ASML, morning of Wednesday? General Dynamics, maybe?
Thanks, So9. I appreciate all your contacts. I'll be coming for your trade. Hopefully it works out. Because that is interesting with all those the kiosks that Soundhound's being used with. So we'll see.
That Wednesday 13, you're also going to get Microsoft, Meta, IBM in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to wake up with ASML, GEV, and AT&T. Lots of names reporting on that.
Teva might be interesting. The Microsoft report Thursday morning. The MasterCard report Thursday morning might be interesting. We get Apple on Thursday evening, Visa on Thursday evening, SanDisk Thursday evening.
Get ready, folks.
Man, I'll tell you what, next week is going to be something else. Mm-hmm. Screen grab this calendar if you want this, folks. Screen grab it up. Now I got to figure out what overlay I had on. No, my producer's got it. He's got it. He's an ace in the hole right there.
Looks like some of these movers are trying to come back up, getting a rebound here off the trend line and the 65 EMA with move. We'll see if it can come back up to 1925 where the other EMAs are hanging out. KUST, crest. That's getting some support down around 290. This is the area from pre-market following the impulse move where it was getting support previously. We'll see if it can recapture 315. Rival still kind of going sideways. Rev B trying to rebound off of after losing the 65 EMA. It's currently in the process of recapturing it. Try hard, kind of sideways right now, still above the VWAP. And hey, Soundhound, after we finished talking about it, it started putting some green candles on the screen here. Looks like this is trying to turn around as well. Thinking about it likes MasterCard reports, but he hates their statements.
Understandable. Those statements need to be satisfied and paid. SLV scan. What happened to? Come on. What happened to my shading here?
SLE coming back up, looking for a recapture of 9. That's kind of where the highs of the regular session were. Looks like a lot of these names are trying to recover here.
Try hard with a vengeance. Love it. Love it.
Live free or try hard.
There we go. There we go.
All right, red wire starting to get a lift. A bit of a lift.
Through the VWAP on red wire? Oh, come on.
Yeah. Some of these names are certainly trying to come back up here. How many of them are going to be successful? I don't know.
Haven't seen anything else terribly unusual off of the options scanner. I guess maybe this APLD, that's an out of the money call, isn't it? Yeah, those are big. $636,000 spent on an out of the money call sweep here for January of next year, ticker APLD.
Yeah, sorry, Kim. Oklo lower today. Looks like it's setting up to potentially go lower later. Seems like 87s is the current support today. And we're starting to get a little bit of a pullback here in some of those movers. Don't know how much, how great these are going to be right now. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with just sitting on my hands for now. Wait and see if there's anything that's going to provide trade in the afternoon. That might be what I end up doing. Silver over 100? Yes. I like seeing that. That's crazy too, because gold might come back into favor some more with the ratio being where it is.
Netflix continuing its march higher, 85 now. Bitcoin also tried to bounce but got swatted back down.
Move now breaking down. This is I think this is going to be done for the morning. Next support area is going to be down around 1575, and then I would say the 200 EMA after that. So Crest trying to turn around here after getting support from the same area it got support from in the pre-market following the impulse move. Might be able to push back up over this 315 area, but 330 might give it trouble. ASTS looking strong. Let's look at ASTS. I don't think I've looked at that one this morning. Let me see here. Well, here's the thing about ASTS that has me a bit concerned. Over the past several days, we've been struggling to get up to 120. We printed it, but we haven't received any. We haven't closed above it. As a matter of fact, we've gone up to the 120 area, and then have only been able to close around 116. So up in that area there around 120, like 116 to 120. Sellers are, people are making their exit. Now, if we start to break down, that's going to be a big resistance area at 120. But if we stay up here, I'd be looking at that as a breakout spot. I think we would need to hold above 100 or 110. I think we would need to hold above 110.
Okay. Okay, good stuff on ASTS, ASTS. Benefit of sitting on your hands is not only do you save money, but you keep them warm. Indeed it is. Matthew here saying, thank you for the X-ray call the other day. I got in for a long position on that. I did too. I am long X-ray here. This is going to be more of a swing than a really short-term trade. This is not a full position yet. I'm going to try and slow play this a little bit. So if this thing really pulls back, not going to be the end of the world. It does pay a dividend about 3.5%. And realistically, this thing needs to get back above the 200-day moving average. 13, I think this is what we talked about the other day. Got that at like 1360. Let me go to my bigger chart. We can take a look at it.
Yeah, I want to see this get above the 200-day SMA. Absolutely.
I mean, we talked yesterday. Look how long it's been beneath the 200-day. I mean, we tested this back in January of 2024. Couldn't really get above it. Prior to that, it was August of 2023 that we were meaningfully above it. And now the question here is, have we bottomed? And if so, if we can recapture this, 1290 would be another key level there. If we can recapture this, this might actually start building.
And I love the folks taking both sides of ASTS. Joe saying it's looking weak. He's holding puts at 120. We have other folks that are saying this looks strong and it's going to push higher. So I'm liking that we got folks on both sides of this. That's how we make a market, folks. And
yeah, Veggie Girl here says, I was in the dental field for years. Dentsply is a good company. That's what we've heard. That's the research there kind of uncovered that. I think Thomas Hayes thinks the same thing, actually. Were you a dental assistant, a dental hygienist, or a dentist itself? Just out of curiosity.
Wow. So Retro, did you pick those up in November? Because November was a great time to be picking up plays for this year. November was when I was buying I was buying Rocket Lab. I was buying GEV. I was doing a good amount of buying in November. It just looked like that was when the market was shedding off its weakness. But yeah, nice, down on 56.
Veggie Girl, assistant for 30 years. Okay, and Matthew here saying my dentist just told me he orders from them a lot. Okay, hopefully we caught one here near a bottom. That would be something else. X-ray.
Oh, a sell with the big flex here in ASTS at 23. So he's been down in this thing since the first half of 2025, maybe even earlier than that. I don't know.
What's the exit plan on that?
Yeah, I mean, this thing is you've got a multi hundreds of % runner here. So yeah, when is the register going to hear that ring? Yeah, big dip in November, absolutely. So November, that's great. November was such a great time to be picking stuff up. Okay, so a lot of these movers just not looking too great. Still waiting to see if DRCT is going to end up recapturing that 65 EMA. This might curl back up, but there is resistance up at 5. This thing has lost its trend line and a 65 EMA. Might be finished for the morning. It could come back later, but this thing is really losing a lot of volume, and it's really spready. Not sure I'd be trying to trade that right now. Crust, this also had a really big sell-off. Took it down to where the support was in the pre-market following the impulse move. So there's that support there, the 65 EMA underneath it, but I'm not yet convinced that the selling has stopped. This might have been where the bottom is, but I would need to see some recovery first, and I'd want to see the price back over 315 and holding above it. Try hard. This lost the VWAP. This looks like this is coming back in. Rival has been sideways. SLE, same thing. Following the sell-off in the pre-market, since we opened, it's been sideways as well.
Yeah, And you guys are mentioning here that Netflix may be dipping a little bit. That was off that power impulse move here. This would be great, especially if this comes back in and holds. Remember, I'm going to take a look at Netflix prior to the close, see what the candle looks like with the Bollinger Band and the RSI.
Wow, Robert Tunnell is in ASTS at 455. That's wild. Let's see, 455. This sounds like a 20. Was it 2024 when you were buying, or did you get it in 2023? Man. Buy orders at 1040 for Soundhound. Okay, so you're pretty close to the bottom there with today's price action, and it's still. It looks like it's trying to form a bottom here.
GIBO looks like this kind of curled. This totally retraced its pre-market move, curled, ripped through the VWAP. The volume expanded, which is what drove this thing higher. The interesting part about that is that you could have something similar here in DRCT, maybe, if that volume expands. Looks like this thing's trying to curl again off of a level that it carved out in the pre-market. We recaptured the 65. We're right at the VWAP right here. We really want to see that volume expand like we just saw in the last chart. DRCT might actually be tradable then. Intel down 16% now. Yikes.
So with Gibbo, that's interesting because this is a company that wants to basically control, I guess, transportation. It says that they want to revolutionize content creation and consumption through AI, but it's also looking like they want to control the future of mobility across air, ground, and digital infrastructure. So they want to control everything that moves. Good luck. Good luck.
Joe here mentioning that memory names are making monster moves. Indeed. Look at SanDisk. We just talked about it. Held yesterday's intraday low. SanDisk, another 30-point move intraday here today. Man, oh man, these things, we're used to this, right? We're used to this thing making monster moves. U calls. This was actually did I read that right? No, okay. The 25 calls, bought 100 of them. The interesting thing about this had a huge day yesterday. We had a guy come on Happy Hour who's been really good at picking stocks. He was the one saying buy Intel hand over fist at 19. One of his picks last night. I don't have any more context on it. I'm sorry, but
so Robert got an ASTS since 24, been selling off here and there. He hopes Saidu does the same thing, and that's interesting because Saidu space also in the space theme. They don't do the same thing that ASTS does, but they are the one that has been getting a lot of attention for data centers on the moon and in space. So I know that we have laughed a lot about that, but it's seemingly turning into more of a reality now, in my opinion. Also, Redwire, this is curling back up after hitting 1241, now back over 13 here. What's up? What's funny?
Some of my coworkers here are discussing the weather. I'll pull the curtain back here. Is anyone else due to get a foot of snow this weekend? Another coworker says no snow, but we're getting an ice storm that's expected to lose power and it should be fun. And the previous coworker says that is much less fun. Stay warm. Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
Yeah, that's true, Joe. Especially when it comes to WDC and STX, they're more of the long-term storage. They're not so much into the RAM space as they are into the hard drive space and flash memory. But Micron much bigger into that. I don't exactly know how much snow, if we're going to be getting any. Is supposed to drop here, but we are going to be experiencing temperatures in the teens over the weekend.
That makes me think about the natural gas trade. Just kind of looking at UNG here. Looking at this, let's look at a 15-minute chart. So it looks like, just kind of based on the trading action here, it sure looks like this cold weather event was kind of sniffed out Yeah, it looks like Tuesday morning. This was immediately bought, and it has continued to roll higher here. I think we're probably late on this trade, but this to me sure looks like a trade based on those weather reports.
So Hakeem giving us information about GM ending production of its most affordable EV, moving from China back to the U.S., Kansas. So bringing that manufacturing back to the U.S. What did Lion say on quadruple U? As a uranium and rare earth play, they're also expanding in Australia. Is any of that up and producing? Any of that production in Australia? Let me know. What was yesterday, JD?
Yesterday was Thursday.
Right.
Sorry, I'll stop being a smartass. All right. Well, I think we could probably wrap. Let's take a look at the movers. Let's wrap them up here. We are going to go to Anne-Marie next, and then we have Sandy coming on after that. We'll start here with move. This was one of the movers here. I'll tell you what. Look at the two trend lines. Look at the two trend lines, almost as if we were able to predict where this is going based on the lines that we drew on our chart. Traded up to that trend line, immediately rejected down to the bottom end. You think we get another move here and move today?
If there's going to be another move coming, it might be later. It's, the volume's much lower now than it was out of the gate here. It's having a hard time getting back up to some of these levels it was at previously. Not going to say it couldn't get back up there, but it's with this volume right now, I don't have a lot of confidence it will right now. Maybe later on in the day when volume returns. But the fact that we're back above the 65 EMA and the trend line is encouraging. So there could be some more upside here that takes us back up to 20.
Okay, we'll see if we get that here on move. Next one here is going to be DRTC. And again, I'm sorry about the shading here. Let me see if I can re-trigger it. There you go. DRCT, eventful pre-market, nada in the regular session. We did lose the 65 EMA. We've not yet tested the 200 EMA. What do you think, 13?
So this consolidation from the pre-market, that's from about 520 to 7 this morning. That consolidation there, it's been leaning on in the regular session for support, coming down to 420 and reversing there. So that's kind of what I'd be keeping an eye on right now, is if we can continue to hold above 420. But this chart doesn't look too great for the moment. If we can't get back above the 65 EMA and VWAP soon, I think that we're going to end up losing that 420 support, and we could end up coming down to the 200 EMA. This doesn't look good at the moment, so we would need to see some turnaround here in short order.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, DRCT. Next one here to wrap is Cust. This is one I actually traded here today. I did not do a great job, only nabbed 10 cents off this bad boy, but it ended up going up to a Ford 50. And then since then, no bueno. Now it is holding the pre-market support area, so perhaps this gets involved in the afternoon. I think volume is going to be your key there. What do you think, 13?
Well, it's still struggling with that 315 area that I was pointing out when we, we're in the the pre-market trying to push up higher here. So we broke through that and the VWAP, and it took us up in the regular session to 448. But now that we're back down here where we were originally getting that pre-market bottoming following the impulse move, we're going to need to see another move back above the 315, and I would think 330 as well. And just like the last one we were looking at, if we can't do that soon, then we're probably going to come in lower. Maybe this trade's better in the afternoon, but right now, the only thing that I think we need to see here is recapture that 315 area if we're going to see any more upside.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Next one here is going to be Rival. This was as boring as we thought it was going to be here. Retraced its impulse move, never really made a decent move back to the VWAP. It is holding the 200 EMA, but still trend here, or the theme here, excuse me. We really need to see this volume increase for this to make a move. You got any thoughts here on Rival?
Well, there is this spike that we had in the after hours yesterday before the impulse move. And it seems like that spike, which took place at about 7:45 yesterday, that was providing support. I think the high of that was 675, and then the lows we've been experiencing today, 673, 672. So that 675 area is going to be support that has to hold up, in my view, because if we lose that, then I think the trade's done here.
Okay. You know what? Let's do Super League. What the hell? SLE. This was another one here. This was moving on the exclusive strategic partnership with Solston. This did retrace a lot of its move. It's still beneath VWAP. It looks like it's chopping around here. I don't know. Volume's really low on this. I think this would, I don't know if this is going to provide a trade later today.
Yeah, I think be careful with this one. This was one of the ones that had a very large spread. I'm looking at the spread right now. It's almost 50 cents. Just be very careful if you're going to try and trade this. It might come back. It's still holding above the 65 EMA, but it's not too far away from where the bottom was, where we launched from. So maybe this does come back up, but as you can see from the price action we've been getting this morning, it hasn't been able to hold too long above VWAP. So if there is a trade here, maybe if it does come back above VWAP, pay yourself. But don't let me tell you how to trade your stocks. But it seems like VWAP, getting above VWAP lately, it doesn't hold too much above there.
Okay. All right. Good stuff here. 13. Any closing words?
Folks, it's been a wonderful week. Trading week, even though it was a short week. I'm looking forward to the long one next week. And then we have some big earnings coming, as well as the FOMC rate decision. So put your seatbelts on. I'm sure it's going to be a wild ride. But until then, have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you on Monday. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. All
right. Sounds good. Enjoy your championship weekend, 13. We will see you on Monday. The 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's bring her on and wish her a happy Friday. Anne-Marie, it's great to see you. How are you?
I'm great. I love how 13 says goodbye. Okay, goodbye.
Yep. He's in a hurry. He's got to go. He's got things to do and places to be. It's what it is.
Love him, yeah.
Anne-Marie, are you dealing with any inclement weather?
If you mean sunshine and 65, then
take
yes.
that. Take that. I've got sunshine here, but I got -8 with it feels like -29 today. So I'm going to have to wear a full balaclava to get out and get my laps here today. All right, Anne-Marie, what are we thinking here today? And I turn it over to you. If there's anything that you want to do first, let's do that. I think we also kind of floated potential Netflix. Maybe there's Intel, but we have a huge slate of earnings next week too. So you let me know which direction you want to go here.
Absolutely. Let's start with Netflix. Mark did such a great job this morning talking about flows, and really that's his sweet spot of describing market flow. It's very common sense. It's just great. So same sort of thing happening. We've got, in terms, I totally agree with him. It is bouncing off of the floor of this edge. Notice this has been support. This price action event was support in April. It was also support in January of 2024. So it literally has given back a year of motion to that downside space. And so that's pretty important to realize how big the battle is right here. My suspicion is that we will bounce and then try to form something that looks a little bit like this, a new area of frontline support. So what would be the trade? Two things. If you look at this and you go, okay, I'm going to be preemptive here. Let's go to a daily. And we had that earnings shot here. You can see that we are well below the low of the earnings event. We gapped down after that, and we have not broken above the high on the day close to that, which leads me to believe this thing is going to be trapped inside of this gap. The first place they're going to sell is right at 87 because they're like, oh God, I bought it there at the low and thank God it's here. I'm getting out. And so my thought would be two things. You want to be, if you feel like being a little aggressive and you want to take a really quick strike, you could easily go to January 30th and say, you know what, I am going to buy that 85, wait, what did I say? 87. Yeah. Going to buy that 85-87 spread. It's really going to give you about, I don't know, something like 100% return, maybe a little more than that, but nothing to sneeze at. It's a small, tight exposure event. It runs for just a short while. You're in, you're out. If you decide you want to take it from a longer perspective and say, I'm going to run it up into that gap, I think it's a long into that gap. You can give yourself a little bit more time. Let's see if it's even. Yeah. You can go to the 13th, and it's a little more expensive. So again, 1-to-1. So not a huge risk to reward event that we normally see in the option chains, but it's a measured one that might deliver something that you're looking for, right? So the next thing would be, what if you realize that it's going to be caught in a bit of a landlock, and because the motion is so important, here's the storyboard. The price action has been bullish for years and years and years. It's broken down, given back an entire year of support. They're going to buy. If it breaks, they're going to try and catch the falling knife. It's the bounce off of the catch of the falling knife that's going to tell you what's going on. Okay. So easily you could say, you know what? I think this is going to fade. I don't really care about whether it bounces or not. You can wait for the rise into the gap because you know where it is. And when it hits that 87 area, you give it a couple of weeks to get back down to 80. And that's 82 cents. Big group here. Big group, 11,000 open interest, 13,000 at 82, 20,000 at 85. We know 85 is that big fat round number in that space. And so easily you can see that's what the traders are trying to do. They could potentially be trying to defend this area or pick it up on the cheap. Don't really know from one of those spaces. But if you're thinking, hey, this is going to roll over, wait for it to try and fill that gap that we can see on the daily, and then take the trade. So what you'd want to do, how do you do that? You simply set an alert at that 87 area, and when it goes, take the short. Now, by the time you get that, this thing is probably going to be 40 cents if it moves up like that. So it's going to be super cheap. Just go in and take it at the price event. And then if it holds, you know, you take a 50% haircut. If it fails, 3, 4, 500% return.
Okay. All right. Pretty awesome. Any chance you can maybe throw the bid out now at a cheaper price?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You could. Let's see what statistically it would be, because we can measure what the average price might be at 87. Okay. So if it moves from 85 to 87, well, it's about $1.50, right? This current 8, it has a delta of 19. So at all else equal, if it moves $1.50, then that would be 30 cents. This would be 30 cents cheaper. Do you know how I'm doing that? Every dollar that the price moves, the delta tells us how much cheaper it's going to get.
Okay, cool.
Right? So you say 20 cents if it goes $1, but if it goes $1.50, it's 30 cents because it's half of 20 cents.
Gotcha.
Now, here's the thing. That is not a linear relationship, because as you can see, the closer it moves to being in the money, it's curvy linear. So it actually moves a little faster once it starts getting closer to being in the money. And it moves even slower when it's far away from the money. So we might actually be able to put it in there for 40 cents, if you get my drift.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
absolutely.
if it's close to at the money, that delta is going to be almost 44.
Gotcha.
But if it's far away, like $2.50 that we're thinking, that delta is going to be 10. So we can really get it cheap. So yeah, I would say I'll take this trade with you. Let's do I get Tasty Trade to fill my orders, and that sometimes they just don't let you get in cheap. Okay, so I'll put 39 cents in there, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe you could put in a little bit if it gets all junky on the call side, if you want the upward flow and you think, hey, you're dumb, this is moving back up, you're dumb. I had a nephew that would always say that to me. He was so funny. He didn't mean any offense to it. He would just, something would happen and he would go, you're dumb. He's such a funny kid. And now he's 30 and I am so
Do you
old.
remind him about that ever?
Once in a while.
Okay.
But it embarrasses him because now he's an old man. Right?
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. So that's what I've got. What do you have? I mean, I have a ton to talk about, but we can pick whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just had ideas, right?
Yes,
the Netflix was the biggest one. The other one, we're obviously seeing a huge move here in Intel, huge move down, and this comes after a really nice run to the upside. I mean, really, this thing went from like $20 to 50. And so now I'm wondering here, what's the next course of action to maybe make some more money off Intel?
Okay, so I was staring this one down because my thought was there is no way this thing is going to keep running after earnings. They're just going to trim back because, take a look, the beginning of 2024, actually, it looks like it's got 12/25 as the date but we weren't open on 12/25. So obviously it's the week of 12/25. And that was the high, $51.28. My thought was, hey, take a look at the prior event, rounded bottom, and then 2 years of another rounded bottom. I think they're going to sell off here. So I still think they're going to sell off. So what do we want to look for? We want to look for where we might take this short. And are we stepping in front of a Zamboni trying to pick up some pennies and taking this short? Could you imagine being Zambonied?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
You know what that thing actually does? It actually cuts the
melts and scrapes.
Scrapes, and then relays a fresh thing down. No, that would be bad. That's like out of a horror movie. Someone getting trapped under a Zamboni. I actually know a Zamboni drivers. That's how I know. That's how I know how they actually work. So, anyhow, writing a script for the next horror film. It's funny because like you go to like a pro hockey game here in Chicago, they like auction off Zamboni rides. Like every time that they cut the ice, they have a kid riding shotgun on the Zamboni. He's out there waving to everybody. Look, I mean, I would have loved to have done that as a kid. Me too. Anyway. All right. So here we go. So I believe this is a short. Now, could it have a little bounce before it shorts? Could people go, whatever, I'm buying the dip? Possibly. And so what we want to look for is the baseline of support failing here. If it holds, it goes to 51. If it fails from this 46, I suspect it goes all the way back to 38 and then some. It might even go to 35. So what do we look at there? If you say, Anne-Marie, you're betting against the flow of the market, I will say, yep, I am. So if we're doing this, we got to make it cheap.
So
Okay.
how can we make it cheap? We need to think about where is it going, and what, oh my, probably ought to get rid of that one. Let me write that note down. For the Benzinga Pro guys, we took this butterfly a while back, so I'm going to make sure they know we close it.
Oh, I was going to say, isn't that
All
a
right.
double? That's more than a double.
Yeah. So that's great.
Those boring butterflies that nobody likes, Anne-Marie,
Yes,
double
yes,
there.
yes,
Just
yes,
a
I know.
no big deal.
It's just always talking to them about it. So what can we do? We can think to ourselves, how long does it take them to come down into this space? Notice 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then it collapses. And then it spends, so many other weeks in there. So if we take a butterfly, we're going to have to take it off as soon as it gets to the sport zone, or the butterfly is just going to leak, right? Unless it just spins at the middle strike. If we take a spread, it might continue to increase, but let's think about filling this area coming back into baseline support. Let's say our first target is 40. Okay, so we're going to go 40 to 35, and we're going to give it 6 weeks. We're going to go to March. And we're going to choose 40 to 35. 85 cents. It's going to make you a fair bit of cash if it moves. Now, what do you do if that's the wrong direction? And how will you know? That's going to be easy. If we break above, let's create an alert. If we break above 51.50, get out of that short.
Okay.
51.50. Set your alert. Listen, alerts are the most powerful things that you can use when you're trading. Because think of all, as you all know, I have the attention span of a Cocker Spaniel. If it were not for my alerts, I'd be up a creek without a paddle. So just set those alerts. If you take the short, here's the beautiful thing. That same line that says, hey, that short is wrong, is the line that says, immediately watch for a pullback that holds 47, and you can take yourself along and go in the other direction. Beautiful way to trade the breakout, at which point, look at where it goes back to. Absolute measured move. This 150, 68, old resistance from 4/12, 2021. Absolutely beautiful chart. So if it breaks out, I'd like for us to revisit this one and walk it up. I know you're saying, Anne-Marie, you want us to put a spread on until March? Look at what the chart does. It hangs out for weeks and weeks and weeks. Don't trade something short term when the roadmap is telling you, hey, we're not making any left or right turns for a hot minute. Let price work for you. So,
okay.
That's what I got for Intel.
All right, good stuff on Intel. Here's the thing. We can do any of the ones that you wanted here. I showed this earlier, Anne-Marie. Here's our earnings chart for next week.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch. And actually, I think it was Tess. You're right. I don't see Tesla on here. And I think they report on Wednesday. Nonetheless, we have a ton of earnings to select from next week, or any of the ones that you want to do here today. So just let me know.
All right. Let's.
And if you need that again, I can put it back up.
No. Let's do. If you don't mind me throwing you a curve.
Not at all.
Let's take a look at what's reported for the last 5 days or so, and see if we can tell how the market is reacting to it. Let's do Schlumberger.
Okay, perfect.
Or Schlumberger. For
Mitch used to call it Slumburger.
Listen, so did I. And I have to tell you, I was a young person. I was in the recruiting business. This was before I even had my recruiting company. And I was working for a lady. She said, call this guy. And he was some chief technical something or the other from Schlumberger. And I literally said to him, so how long have you been at Schlumberger? And he said, I just want to tell you, it's actually pronounced Schlumberger. So before we go on, let's just have a laugh about that. Don't want you to feel bad. He was
At least he had a laugh about it instead of like, can someone else call me?
Yeah. He was a nice guy. He was a
Good.
very nice guy. I was also very young, and I'm sure he could tell that. So anyway, Schlumberger is just really taking advantage of a lot of different things, and it's in the week of earnings, right? This is this week, 5 days ago. And so let's have a look at the daily chart, and we'll go back a couple of earnings events to see how well prices do here in general. It's been sitting in a very sideways formation for a long time. Look at how these earnings formations overlap each other. That one's a new low, but then it recovers an old low of a prior earnings event. This is absolute textbook inventory accumulation, textbook. And so we're going to use Fibonacci instead of the boxes that I normally do. And you can see 300%, almost on the money, right? It hits that 300% and then boom, it starts reversing. Now, looks bullish, absolutely looks bullish. My thought would be in this space, it's broken out, it's got new direction, it's outperforming the S&P 500. That's what this line is, the S&P 500, outperforming them. Pullbacks equal buy zones. Two things you can do. You can, if you want time, you can do a butterfly way in the future, or you can do yourself, guess what she's going to put up there? She's going to put an iron condor up there. So we're going to steer down this. Nope, doesn't have enough premium for us. So what I believe that Schlumberger is one of the most well-run companies on the planet. For whatever reason, it's been caught in this sludge for years. But we know the story. The longer the base, the higher in space, right? We've all heard that one. What we want to do is give it time to do that on a pullback. Is June going to be kind of rough? Could July give us some sort of peaking event before we move to wherever? Potentially, but here we are, long action event. We go 52.50 to 57.50, cheap, 250% return if it works. Give yourself a 50% stop loss. The vol is never very high here in Schlumberger, and so it's usually a slow, steady grind. Now, my favorite things to do in a slow, steady grind is to sell premium. But if we expect a fade, we have to go down the chains, and down the chains are going to give us very limited premiums. You could also say, well, hey, can't I buy Schlumberger and just sell a call against it? You can. My suspicion would be you're much better off just selling the put and getting yourself put to the stock at a 10% discount. So that would be it. And selling the put only takes $590 of, margin. So it's not bad.
Okay.
All right. Let's do another one that's maybe a little bit more exciting, but Schlumberger is really
Slow and steady wins the race. We know that.
Exactly. All right, let's do. No, those chains are awful. This one, crud. I had something sitting here and it's disappeared off my screen. We could do another slow and steady wins the race, but let's do a metal. Let's go to Rio Tinto.
All right.
Okay, here is another one. Take a look at this, folks. So commodities have been in an underperforming downward drift in the market for a long time, right? Rio Tinto is one of those. But this is an ADR, right? So we're looking at it from, wait a second. Yeah, okay, those chains are there. So what it's doing, however, is really breaking and breaking fairly solidly. So we've got some sort of, what is this? 219. It shows us already reported for some reason.
Here, I can find that out for you here real quick.
Let's see what we can have on a call spread that's really cheap. Oh my goodness. We put these on again. This was another one I did for the Benzinga Pro guys. Wow.
Yeah, so I have this February 18th.
Okay.
And it looks like it might go intraday because it's that ADR.
Okay. All right.
Not confirmed, but that's what I'm looking at here.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to leave those alone because we're going to talk about that later. All right. So, what we can, I don't want to stare that one down. I'm so sorry. I don't want to do it before earnings, but I do believe these guys are going to head to the north. If you're thinking to yourself, hey, what can I do here? And you want a long bet that's just going to keep cash moving in your general direction, I would look to Jan and look at where people are already working this one. This is, 3,500, right? And so that's for January 2027. That's a far way away, right? And so if we do the 105 to 115 and you just sit on it, almost $1,000 of upside, it'll be $827 to move to the upside pressure event there. And you're in the metals, you know, we're in a commodity cycle. It's a pretty good space. It's a pretty good space, and it's already got a ton of attention.
Okay.
So here we are at the end. Get
All
ready
right.
for Sandy.
Yeah, no, this is great. And like I said, Anne-Marie, next week we're going to have a ton of stuff to go over. With all of the earnings next week, we can probably take our pick of pre-earnings or post-earnings on both days. So really good stuff, really good breakdown here today. Appreciate it. Enjoy your 65-degree weather.
Enjoy your -29 feel.
I will. I will. We're going to get out there and try and do some laps with a balaclava on. We'll see how it goes. All right, Anne-Marie, take care. We'll see you next week. All right, Anne-Marie's departure leaves room for Sandy. Let's go ahead and see how she's doing. Happy Friday, Sandy. How are you? You're muted, I think. I can't hear your voice.
Happy Friday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Bit chilly here, but that's okay. What's your weather like in California?
That's what I hear. You know what? It's a lot of layering. It's cold in the morning, but then really warm in the afternoon, like, in the mid 70s. So.
Okay. Really nice. All right. Well, I'll just keep chilling over here with my -9. Sandy, what do you have coming up for us today?
We're going to just take a look at some tickers and talk about, what the next tweet might be. Who knows?
Okay, perfect. Tons of earnings next week, so it should be a volatile one. We also have the Fed decision, although we're probably going to not cut there. So really good stuff, folks. Options trade. I do this every time, Sandy. I'm so sorry. Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fit-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Trading. So when we take a look at Market Watch, we could see some of the big players here getting involved, but a lot of red going on here as well. INTC, real interesting. They came out with nice earnings. Problem is the forecasting, right? The forecasting for what's happening in 2026. And this is why the beginning of the year for 2026 is so important to learn about when the companies are forecasting into the new year. Earnings could be great for the last quarter, but if they start to, the way that they verbalize what's happening with their company, not only this quarter, but this quarter is 2026. And so it kind of gives you a flavor of what might be happening. Same things for the banks. The banks started reporting earnings and a lot of mixed messages here. And so with that then comes, a lot of inconsistency, and the market doesn't like that. We want to hear real positive feedback for 2026. If you were a, chart analysis person, and you were thinking about, how this, probably how this week has played out. A lot of interesting headlines, right? Interesting tweets. What's going on in the broad economic, macro events. And so this is causing a really crazy ride right now in the market with all the volatility. So keep it in mind. And one of the ways that you can minimize your risk, is using debit spreads. I often talk about debit spreads being limited risk, limited reward. It also is a way for you to kind of downsize your positioning because they don't cost as much, but you can still participate in the marketplace. So let's take a look at some charts here. We have SPY, on a daily. Let's take a look on a 4-hour real quick. And you can see that, right now we're just kind of recovering from that little decline that we had. And we're just kind of going sideways. And, for directional traders, right, trend traders, we really don't like the sideways action. Now, if you're a premium seller, you love it. But unfortunately, right now, it looks like we're just kind of in a holding pattern. So kind of looking to see what's playing out, right? Let's take a look at some popular names here. NVIDIA, you can see we're just kind of in this range right here for a really long time. NVIDIA has been interesting lately with this consolidation. NVIDIA is usually, you get some good movement with NVIDIA, whether it be up or down. When the trend is present, you can really identify the trend. And we just kind of been sideways outside of just these couple days here. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon right now, actually, looking good. We got a little bit of a bounce here. And this looks like it might be recovering. What's our previous high? 248. So if we can clear that 20 at 236.09, which we have, if we could stay above that level, right, we could easily see that. Confirmation would be 1 day, right? 1 day above that zero line would give you some real, evidence to believe that probabilities are is that we're going higher. We got earnings coming up here on the February 5th. Keep it in mind as we look at TSM. TSM's looking really nice. You could see that the momentum stayed in the positive range. And even as it looked like it was going to break down, it did not. And so you can see where, we're kind of like, here's a low a higher low, and even here looking good. Really never coming really close to that 20. I'm surprised that we haven't bounced off of it yet, but it could come down to 322. But with that momentum shooting up like that, earnings was good, and so they are looking good. Looking for some stocks here to do. AMD is looking great comparably to Nvidia, right? Uh, Nice movement on AMD. Look at that today. I don't know if there was a news event or something happened today, but certainly looks good. And I also wanted to take a look at, I can't find it on my list here really quick. Let me look at Amazon really quick. That was starting to look really good. We've got a nice bounce here, and we're ready to break above that zero line on a daily. Let's take a look at a 4-hour. 4-hour just coming up to that 20. If we can have confirmation of staying above that 20 and we're above that zero line, we could see us actually come right back up to the 242 level and go beyond that. So right now, Amazon's looking really good. I like Amazon here, looking for a possible trade. Let's take a look at some others. Walmart just kind of consolidating. Ooh, downtrend on the bank here. How about Visa? Visa too. Looks like we're consolidating on Visa though. Could get a nice reversal right up to the zero line. Needs momentum to actually get some juice so that we can come back at least to retest that 331.99 and then possibly head back lower unless we actually break that 20. That could be a trend change. So that's something to maybe put on your watch list. Some of these banks that have gotten a real beating. Oil looking great, right? Commodities here. This looks really nice. So you can see where we broke above that 20. We broke above that zero line. And the momentum along with price being above that 20 gave this a lot of juice. And right now, it looks like we're at the 7th PT if you were able to hold through this consolidation right here, right? So looking really nice. How about some of the staples? J&J, consolidation right here. Looks like it's trying to decide what it wants to do. Momentum still up, but a lot lower than it was. So just kind of in consolidation until we kind of wait and see what's happening. MU, so a lot of these tech stocks looking nice. Google, not so much. Let's take a look at Google, see if it's on a reverse. Google kind of consolidating here, really just hanging out where the momentum is. If we can get a nice confirmation, we're already above the 20. This actually looks good. You could see where my indicator is calling out a call for 331.29. Now we're not there yet, are we? So we could actually look at Google in two ways here. We could say, okay, on a 4-hour, we got momentum cresting above that zero line. We're looking at 331.29 to go for a long call. But if we hit our stop loss here at 325.84 or just below it, this could actually be a put. So in this sense, we could put on 2 trades, one for a call, one for a put, and see how that happens. So let's take a look if there's a difference with, no, they're about exactly the same. This one's actually getting closer to its, I think there might be better options on this one. Let's take a look at the trade tab. Almost double the calls versus the puts right here. Guys, if you haven't used your trade tab down here, you can kind of see what's going on for today as far as who's betting on the calls, who's betting on the puts, what are the statistics for that. So we do have some positive momentum showing, though I actually think let me take a look at this on a weekly. I think we might be coming up to resistance. No, I mean, it actually looks pretty good. Let me look at it on a weekly. Wow. Well, we certainly are getting on a weekly far away, right? Far away. Oh, we do have earnings here on February 4th. So we still got about a week and a half or so. I kind of like this as an example trade to put on a call and a put with what? Automation. So Trading Made Simple focuses on trading automation. using your own platform. So whether that's Thinkorswim or IBKR, we do a lot of coaching for that and teach you how to do that on your own platform. So let's take a look at, we'll leave it on Google here. We'll go over to the trade tab. How about if we take a week out and see what ends up happening next week? Now, I did talk to you about debit spreads when you're uncertain of the market, and there's a lot of speculation out there of what might be happening in our macroeconomics. So instead of putting on a lot of risk, you can downsize as well as put on some debit spreads, especially if you think there's going to be some choppy weather coming ahead, right? So debit spreads are really good for that. They can kind of hang on. So as we look at the spread here, 60.70 for at the money. Let me take a look at Google. $0.10. And how much was it for? It's 10 cents. So really no difference here. Let me take a look at the chart really quick. And I think we were looking at a 4-hour to make our decision on this because it's right at consolidation, ready to do something. And you can tell by price, right? Not really going anywhere right here, really kind of in a decision mode. So as we take a look at Google right here, let's say 331.29. I do like to pad that a little bit. These targets are based on ATR. So 331.29, let's make it 331.35 for the call. We're going to go down to a vertical. We're going to buy that at the money, okay? And you can see the price was around 425. You get into a debit spread and it's 103. Why is this able to help you kind of walk through or hold on a little longer, kind of have diamond hands when things start to get a little choppy? Is because you're buying a call for Google, but you're also selling one as well. And that actually creates this neutral positioning, right? And so that neutral positioning really allows you then to hold on to it a lot longer, as well as when it starts to go against you, it's not as fast moving as if you were in a straight call. Hope that makes sense. So as you can see, this is 105. So here let's take 2 here, since we're going to be holding over the weekend. And let's say now we want to go ahead and program. So I'm going to program this for, once we get out our order rules here, you could see that I want that call at, what was that? I should have wrote that down. Let me write that down really quick. I think it was 331.35. And we'll do a put at 325.75. 325.75. Just don't want it to hit that value and then turn around. It could. Typically speaking, sometimes that happens, but by padding it just a little bit, you're saying, hey, look, I'm really looking for some momentum to break that ATR value. And with that, that's helpful to enter your position. I also like to get out early. Padding is nice for automations, by the way, if you don't know. All right, so let's get over to our contract here. Should still be here. And let's get up our order form. All right, so now that we have the order form here, the top portion of this order form is really all about the option pricing. Now, because we're making our decision based on a trigger for a stock, what we want to do when we pull up the order form is we want to pay attention to the conditions. That's why we actually pull this order form up. Now, if you just wanted to pay attention to the option pricing, you could do all of that from this area right here, right? This is all your stuff that you can do right here on the front of this page. So the only time you actually bring up your order form page is to actually fill out the conditions. So for the conditions, you can see that we just hover over that gray bar and it will default on the ticker, the mark, which is fine. The trigger is above or below. The first one is below The second one is above. And if you ever get lost, you could just look right down here where it says mark price of the security is less or equal to. So the first one is less than equal to, and we're going to do our calls right now. And then here the threshold means, okay, what's the stock price that you're entering? Now, when we get over to the stock price, let's see, we got 331, 35. And we tab out of this box, and you can see I made a mistake here. 331. 35. We tab out of this box. If you don't tab out of this box, then the programming won't get set. And so you want to make sure that you tab out of that threshold box so that it's written right here down below in your description box. So you always want to take a look at your programming, because isn't that what you're doing? You're basically programming your platform to trigger this trade when the stock price gets to 331.35. So as we do that, we're like, wow, that's already done, guys. That's so simple, right? So we're going for a call greater or equal to the stock price of 331.35. And then we come up here and we say, well, wait, we can't have it trigger with a stock price and an option price. We can't do that. So what we need to do is pick one or the other. We chose the stock price. And because of that, we want to just be aggressive buyers of this option contract. So we're going to buy the ask, right? Buying the ask and selling the bid is being aggressive buyers and sellers without paying market price. So now we just say buy the ask. You make sure that this says 00. And then this is a good till cancel. So now we basically have everything up front that we need. Typically, I would put here a stop loss, but unfortunately, with Thinkorswim's, Schwab has done some programming, and they've tightened up their triggers. You know, it's almost hairline for the stop losses. Because of that, some of that morning volatility will just stop you out of your position. And even though you have a stop loss and you have a take profit, it always hits the stop loss versus the take profit, even though that volatility settles down in 10 minutes. And so because of that, as soon as we identified that as a new issue with Thinkorswim, we immediately changed the way that we program our stop losses. So now we don't. What we do is we put our take profit in, and then we basically just monitor. When it gets to 50% stop, a 50% loss, we're out of there. If we take a 50% profit, we're out of there, and makes it simple. If you have two contracts and you want to set a profit limit for one and then another profit limit for another, you can do that. I typically say with debit spreads, 35 to 70% profit is reasonable, right? If you're holding on for dear life for that 100%, you may lose it all. So, between 50 and 70% to me is reasonable. And so that's what I'm going with. Now here, what we're going to do is, because I just brought up the contract, I didn't do an OCO. I'm going to go ahead and say, create a opposite order, because now I need a sell order. And because I didn't put this on an advanced form, let me fix this really quick. Let me put that as an opposite. So we have our buy. You'll notice that the programming is still there. So everything is good. Now what I need to do is go over here to the single order form and say, because we didn't originally do an OCO, we're going to say a first triggers OCO, or we can do it a sequence. So because we don't have two sell orders in this, we're just going to do a sequence. And what this means is, after the first order gets triggered, which is the buy order, then we're basically waiting for the sell order. And that's exactly what we want. So those two will work. And now that I've switched that advanced order form, I'm going to come over here and say create an opposite order. Why? Because I need a sell order. I have my buy in, so I need the opposite. So now remember, because I made basically a clone of that order, all that programming is going to be in there. So what I need to do now is basically change the greater to less than. Actually, no, I'm going to keep it as greater, because this is my profit taking. And then I'm going to try to identify here, where is my first profit target? It's at 336.74. Now you could do it with stock price, or you could just say, hey, at 50% profit, I'm out. So if you want to do it by stock price, you're going to enter it here. If you want to do a percentage, then you're just going to go right back here and you're going to use these toggle switches. In fact, let me just show you. Once you put this order on, you'll see these toggle switches, and you can put this on a percentage. And then from there, you can just enter the 50% and tab out, and then you have it. And for debit spreads, I believe this is a much better play. For calls and for puts, I think entering a stock price is really good if you have you've identified where your take profits are. But this is a very easy way to get that. Now, I want to make sure now that because we're using the option price, you see how we did everything from the front of the screen. Because we did that, because we did this on the front of the screen, we don't need this at all. And so here, all you would do is delete Google, and then it removes, right, the conditions for this, because this is used for stock pricing. So now we save this order, and we basically have now the call side of this. So when we take a look at it and we say, all right, let's take a look. We want two verticals. It's the call. We bought the 332.50. We sold the 335 call. And Google at or above 331.35. And we're going to sell it when it gets plus 50%, which is our profit. If this was going to be a stop loss, it would be a minus, but this is a plus 50%. So now we have our take profit. All right. So we have our calls in. Let's go in for our puts. We'll do at the money as well. And let me do this with a buy custom OCO so you could see how it looks when you use that function. What this does is it already gives you your advanced order form up front. You don't have to create your order. It's there for you. Could you still modify it from here? Absolutely. You can modify it. You could create a template from this if you do a lot of these. So on this one, now that we have our put, again, I don't want this stop loss. I could just go right over here and just delete this, that second order. Now, when I go back up to the order, oh, that's interesting that it changed it to a single. That is really, really odd. I've never seen it do that before. So now, because I know that, I'm just going to go ahead and create the order. That was very different. I'm going to say buy the vertical. That was weird, guys. We had a vertical buy order and two vertical sells. Just because I took off one of the cells, it turned it into a call and a put. I mean, a put, a straight put, not a vertical. That is the weirdest thing I've seen. I'm going to have to report it to Thinkorswim for Schwab, so they know about it. Because some of this stuff, if you don't complain about it, they won't fix it. Have you heard that before? I'm going to go to my advanced order. First here goes a sequel. I'm now going to add a sell order, which is created opposite order here. Okay, I'm going to need my sell. Now I got my buy and my sell. All right, so now let's see. Do we already have this programmed? No, not yet. So let's go over here to the put and program our order. Very simple. Just go boom, boom. This is going to be less than equal to. And then here we're going to put in our stock price of 325.75. All right, and tab out of there. We're going to look down below right here because this is our backup, right? It says less than or equal to 325.75. We don't need the option price here. So we're going to say, hey, we are going to put this as ask 00 for the buy order. We have that in. We're going to save it now. This order form is done. And now we're going to go to our sell order with take profit. We're going to, you could see that we don't have those little buttons here. You just come right over here to this link and you're going to say trigger, and then it will trigger all these little buttons for you to use. This is $. So you could actually, if you wanted to, put 50 bucks in here, 0.50. And basically you're just telling the system, I want to exit with a $50 profit. Simple as that. But you need to have some knowledge or some, get confident with vertical spreads to first identify, will one of these contracts be able to achieve that 50%, that $50 profit. I really like to use this already built-in percentage. So in this case, we bought the vertical for what, 105, I think. So 50% of that is going to be about $50. So this actually works either way, but we're going to put in 50%. Both of these are going to be good till cancel, right? So we have that. And then we're going to confirm, and we're going to take a look at the order form so we can make sure we read our programming. And so here we got a vertical at or below 325.75. And then we're going to sell it. I only have one here. I want to change that. So I'm going to edit. I'm going to put 2 here on this side. Okay. Now confirm. You can always go back to your order and edit. You don't have to start all over again. So you have buy this at 325.75, sell it with profit, right, at a plus 50%. We're going to check on this, and if it gets at 50% loss, we're going to just close it out. And the nice thing is this moves a lot slower. Now, if there's a gap, it's going to suffer that gap. So it definitely, you want to check it if there's a huge gap, right? We've had these gaps. So, my gosh, 2025 was incredible for gaps versus 2024. So who knows what 2026 will bring, right? So you need to be cognizant of the gaps. There is a way that you could protect yourself and say, hey, if this triggers and we're below a certain price because of a gap, I want to cancel. But that's on the next training. All right. So now when we take a look at our chart, you can see we have everything programmed. We have, hey, we have our buy and sell here. We have our buy and sell here. It's just waiting for the trigger. It hasn't triggered the call. It hasn't triggered the put. And now we're basically ready for that trade to take place. It's great. And so what this does, right, instead of you sitting in front of your computer all day waiting to have that patience, right, programming and automation give you that patience to just follow through on that trade, as well as not sit in front of your computer all day and just wasting your time sitting here waiting for those levels to hit. It's really nice. Oftentimes when you put in an alert, right, you could go into Thinkorswim and say, hey, I just want an alert on this. And believe me, I know. And when the alert hits, then I'm going to take the trade. But you know what happens when the alert hits? You come back to your chart and you reanalyze what you already analyzed before. And so what this does is kind of, it's not analysis paralysis, but what it does is it makes you take more time to reanalyze the situation. Instead, you've done your homework very quickly, I might add, right? It didn't take us long to find that trade and say, okay, I kind of like both of these scenarios. Right now, it's just in consolidation. I have my levels on the chart. I can easily, and by the way, you can create your own levels using an ATR oscillator. And you could say, hey, this is what the stock is traveling today. If it hits one or the other, I'm set. And because I like these values being on a 4-hour, it makes it so that it doesn't have to happen quickly. Could you use this same program on a smaller time frame? Absolutely, you can, right? You can do scalping with this, day trades, swing trades. Program is really versatile for automation. If you want to check out some more information, you can go to tradingmadesimple.org. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.